What you got, a little surprise for me?
Open it up and see.
All right.
Hi!
Good morning. Good morning. How are we?
I don't believe it.
Here. Now look here, where were you last night?
Me? Why,
Answer yes or no.
I was
What were you doing there?
doing where?
Well, how do we know? Besides, I don't like your looks.
Did you ever take a good look at yourself?
Yeah. Billy!
Hey, turn that off. Will you turn that thing off?
Hold still, will ya?
Does this help?
Yeah, thanks.
Maybe you found someone you like better.
No, he's in the ambulance. This way. Oh, God. Before I open this, don't get your hopes up too high.
Hey, yeah, don't get your hopes up too high. But hello.
Hey.
We have I don't know if we have anybody even watching yet, but we have some things to talk about. Tonight we're going to be watching Army of Darkness. This is a great movie, and sadly and unfortunately, this is the only version I have.
What?
This DVD. But look at the cover, bro.
I mean, it's pretty great. I'm not going to lie.
As simple as it is, like I'm just into the red, and I actually have this exact same version, whatever this was, Universal put out.
Yeah.
For Legend. So I have a DVD of this with the white case with the red Legend. It's pretty dope. But I have multiple versions of that.
Okay.
I almost picked up the 4K when this came out, but it was like over $30-something. But I have it on DVD, you know, so I am going to get the 4K eventually. It is on the Amazon wish list. I'm going to be trying to get it soon. I don't know, Halloween time, maybe it might be one of the ones. It just depends on what's coming out next and how far down the list it goes. If it obviously goes cheaper, 100% I'm going to buy it. That has been my recent rule, is if I don't own it and I really, really want it, day one purchase, probably no big deal. But if I have it in some fashion, whether it's on VHS or whatever, I'm not paying full price for it. I will wait till it goes on sale.
Yeah, that was a day one purchase for me. Like anyone who knows me, anyone who knows me knows like Evil Dead's one of my favorite franchises, and it's one of the only things that I like let myself nerd out about. So anytime there's a new edition that comes out, I usually pick it up. So
okay, that makes sense.
That 4K Steelbook, day one.
Gotcha. As we're talking about day one purchases, let's dive into tomorrow's new release day. So there's quite a few things, but I don't know what I'm going to be getting. So let's dive in. Let's talk about it. So tomorrow, new release day. Very first thing, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse 4K. I'm skipping that one. Nope. I was never really into the other one. My daughter got like super into it. She watches it all the time. So we have that 4K. But for me, it's kind of whatever. I mean, Spider-Man lives and dies with Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
You know, that's where it is. And so I don't necessarily hate it, but I'm going to skip on that one. Princess Bride Criterion 4K. I just picked up last year, maybe a year and a half ago, the Princess Bride Criterion version. I had the digibook. I went to Best Buy, picked it up as this purple bound digibook. So I picked that up. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I don't like the digibook stuff. I hate them on the shelf. I want more uniformity. So I got rid of all my digibooks. I sold them all. And then I purposely bought that Criterion. It shows up in the mail. It's a freaking digibook.
Yeah, it is.
And so then this is the exact same thing. So I'm not going to do the upgrade on it. Eventually I might upgrade the 4K, but I think it's an excellent transfer. I think what I have is perfectly suitable for now. No complaints at all. If it didn't have the digibook packaging, that would be a day one purchase for me. So that one is probably going to have to wait till a Criterion sale if I ever decide to upgrade, or, you know, Christmas, birthday, I might ask for it kind of.
Right.
Sleepy Hollow 4K. I have this movie on VHS only, and it's one of my favorite movies ever. So I've been waiting for the 4K for a long time. And so this is a day one pickup. I'm going to rush out tomorrow. I'm going to try to grab this thing. I did have it on pre-order, but I'm just going to go hunting tomorrow and just try to get it. I think I get more enjoyment out of that. Even if I don't make a video about it, I get more enjoyment out of like trying to find it live. Where are you on Sleepy Hollow?
So I really dig Sleepy Hollow as well, but the thing is, like, I just tracked down a Blu-ray copy a couple months ago when we were out at like the antique stores. There's this one along the coast that we found. They have like just a wall of Blu-rays. So I found it in there, and like I just got it, so I don't know if I want to jump into upgrading it, but that the steelbook version, the all white cover, looks really, really pretty.
Yeah. I'm not gonna get in the steelbook. I was gonna like that's what I had on pre-order because I just liked it. I really like that version.
It looks good. Yeah.
I've said, I don't know if you saw, I just uploaded all my steelbooks, and I actually found one that was hiding. So it was 43. So I actually have 44 steelbooks.
Okay.
And the one I was hiding was Fifth Element because the kid and I watched it and I forgot. It never made it back to the shelf. So I showed off 43 of my steelbooks, and in those, many of them are 4K, but only a handful I really love and I wouldn't part with. And I'd probably like maybe put the magnets on the end of that shelf and as an end cap and maybe put them up there. That's a possibility, but the rest of them I would have no problem trading them out or selling them to get the standard version because the only reason I have them in the first place is they were the only thing there and I just really wanted the movie.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, man. I don't go out of my way to buy steelbooks, but for whatever reason, more often than not, I'm finding myself ending up with steelbooks lately, like especially with the 4K stuff.
Yeah, I like the one I bought on purpose was like there's a couple I bought on purpose, but the one I really got was like the Jumanji one.
Yeah.
It looks like the game, and then the actual front of it's embossed and it's got the raised lettering, and so I just hit all the right notes. Being a kid watching it in the '90s, really enjoyed the movie, so that was I guess an emotional purchase.
Yeah.
That's why I have it.
Yeah, I like the artsy steelbooks. Like, do you remember the steelbook for Christine that Best Buy put out?
Vaguely. I never picked up that version. I got the standard version.
It's like all white, and the front of it is like an old classic car ad. Like it looks really great.
Oh, it's got to be amazing. So there's some of them would be cool. If I didn't have the 6-year-old who loves movies as much as I do, who's constantly touching them, I would definitely have them like magnetized to the wall and just some kind of awesome display. Right. But then I just know she's going to play with it, take it off. And like, that's why I don't buy them in the first place. I'm always afraid they're going to get damaged.
Right. I get you.
So there's that one. I'm going to be getting the standard version of Sleepy Hollow 4K. That's going to be I'm going to be hunting for that one. I'm probably going to be getting it this week. If I don't find it, I'm going to be looking for that one. I love that movie. And like I said, I only have it on VHS, so it's a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
Next is Matilda on 4K. We have the movie. We have multiple versions of it. Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure we have at least 2 copies on VHS. My kid loves the movie. Watch it all the time. It's not a day one purchase for me. That's a sale. Obviously throw it in her Christmas stocking kind of thing. It's obviously I enjoy the movie to a point, but it's really a kid's movie, and that kind of thing. So it's nice to be able to put it on and watch it with her and have that kind of experience, but to rush out and pay the whatever it is for a brand new 4K, for me, that's a total wait and buy, maybe a Black Friday deal. But definitely throw it in her Christmas stocking is what's going to end up happening with that one, if it's a good price.
That sounds like a plan.
Then we have Expendables 4K Best Buy exclusive steelbook. Not for me. We have the first one, the second one, and the third one. And I have those movies and I have them on 4K. I just don't need the steelbook upgrades. But they did Sony did just announce the Expendables 4 4K is coming.
Okay.
So also looking forward to that as well. Iron Man 4K Best Buy exclusive steelbook again is being tomorrow. That's cool. If you're a steelbook guy, definitely go check those out. Night of the Comet 4K Collector's Edition. Now, I just picked this movie up within the last year. I absolutely love it. I have the standard version on Scream Factory. I don't know when they actually released it, but I've only had it in my collection for maybe about a year.
Same here, actually.
To try to grab the 4K on this, it's just kind of, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to double dip. I enjoy the movie a ton. I just don't. I can't justify that purchase.
Yeah. No, same here. I love the movie, and we've had it for same thing about a year and a half. But I don't know, between like Criterion and Shout Factory, like the transfers they do make it really hard to justify a 4K upgrade because they're so good to begin with, like most of the time.
And I understand like trying to, for them, it costs money to do this stuff. So I understand like trying to garner the most amount of money, but as far as us collectors go, it feels like a gouge.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
yeah.
And when it's that soon. Now I understand if this was like a 5 or 6 year old movie and now it's coming to 4K, sure.
Right.
I'm like, all right, no problem. The only thing that's kind of tempting is being a collector of things and the merchandise kind of aspect of it. This version that Shout Factory is doing, like many things they've done before, it comes with posters and stuff. And then once that stuff sells out, they're gone. You might be able to get the movie, but the extra, the other cool things, those are gone. So right now, there's 2 posters. So the Night of the Comet 4K Collector's Edition includes 2 slipcovers and 2 posters. So it's really cool because like the both versions, you can switch over the artwork on the disc.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. So both artworks are available in the 2 different slipcovers and both posters in the same package. So I think it's a cool collector's item. Like when they say collector's item, now I feel that it is. I feel that something about that's now special.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just picked the movie up. I can't justify buying it again. Anytime soon. But so by the time I'm ready to pick it up on 4K, I'm looking for a sale and all the cool stuff is gone.
Right.
And Batman Mask of the Phantasm, that's getting a 4K release. Now, I know that's a big fan favorite. It's been talked about for a long time. Even people that aren't like super movie collectors and like really into movies like we are, have been talking about this one for quite a while.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it. Again, it's not a day one purchase for me, but it's on the radar. I'm definitely going to get it at some point.
It's I'm interested. I mean, look, the animated series is like one of my favorite TV shows of all time. But with that being said, when they released that like giant Blu-ray set of the animated series that had all the movies in them remastered,
and I missed out on that for the big one.
Yeah,
I missed out on that, and I was tempted to pay the crazy eBay prices, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Held out, and so I have just the reissue Blu-rays as just a standard pack, which is doable. It's very serviceable. I enjoy having it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's gorgeous, and like we just looked through it again a few days ago when what's her name, the voice actress for Harley Quinn passed.
Oh,
and, yeah, like I didn't even know that there were film cell prints in there. So,
oh wow,
yeah, like I just somehow missed them, like amidst the art book and the box set of the Blu-rays themselves. So, I've got that thing, and it's gorgeous, and I want the 4K upgrade, but it's gonna have to wait till it's like really on sale.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. So yeah, Mask of the Phantasm, I think we just recently found it on VHS. Not 100% positive because she has a lot of those movies in her room, and I've never scanned them. Those are her movies. So I'm pretty sure though we have Mask of the Phantasm on VHS, but that's it. Like if we do, we might not even have it at all. If we do, it's there. So it's something that I would pick up. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it pretty well. I remember it was very well received. I had heard tons of information about it. Like everyone said it was like one of the better films, for the longest time. And I had already, grown up a bit. Like when that came out, I missed it completely.
Yeah.
Like I just was at that age where other things were more important at the time. And so I just just really missed it altogether. And so over the years, I've heard how great it was. I finally watched it maybe a couple years ago, 2 years ago with my youngest daughter, and we just absolutely loved it. And so all the praise that it gets, I think is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I was, believe it or not, over the years, I was never spoiled to that one. Now I was informed that there was a little bit of a twist. So I was informed about that, but somehow or other, it wasn't spoiled, and it was enjoyable because I had missed it for so long. And so I just glad that happened.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a great twist. The only thing that like drives like the anal retentive side of my brain nuts is, and I won't like give the twist away, but like there's a character that you see on a plane after the whole phantasm thing starts when they couldn't have been there before they were on the plane, if you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but I was like, I've only seen it once or twice, so like it's not burned into my brain.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know what you're saying. I'm figuring it out. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things you kind of figure it out. That's what happens when a lot of people hands in the pot making the pie.
Yeah, little stuff like that.
Sometimes little stuff like that gets overlooked.
Yep.
But so that's it. So for me, I'm going to be definitely going to looking for Sleepy Hollow. That's the only one that I really, really wanting.
Yeah.
And that's going to be it. And then pretty much probably from now until probably after the holidays, I'm limiting myself to about one a week, if any. Like, right. So like if there's nothing I really, really want, I'm just not even going to go looking.
Yeah, no, we were talking behind the scenes, and like I'm gonna be saving up because October they're gonna be putting out a big set of Babylon 5, and then in November they're gonna be putting out a big set of Farscape, and those are two shows near and dear to my heart. So those are gonna be
and that reminded me, I actually forgot already. I have on British Amazon pre-order the Arrow Video Psycho set and the Hellraiser set and something else, and then Exorcist is coming. So with all the pre-orders, I might not be hunting for movies anytime soon. But trying to keep it low to a minimum until after the holidays because I did go a little nuts recently, and there's so many things I have to watch, and I've kind of limited myself to, all right, you got to cool it. You got to watch this stuff. You can't just can't be a hoarder. And so now I'm trying to watch everything that I've gotten and all the new stuff that's coming out. It's just so tempting to get it all, but we really can't.
No.
But yeah, with that, we're going to be watching Army of Darkness tonight. Now, this is a movie I really enjoy. And like I said earlier, I don't know if people are starting to tune in now. This is the only version I have of it. So I really do enjoy it, and I have held off on the 4K, but I do love this movie. When was the last time you saw this one, Mike?
Honestly, like when the 4K set came out, man. So that was what, like April or May of this year? I want maybe March.
Yeah, fairly soon, fairly recently, because the past couple times I've seen it at Best Buy, it was still at that higher price range, like over $30, which I don't mind paying. But again, like I've kind of tried to, with all the upgrades and all the movies I have, like it can get nuts very fast. So I've limited myself. If I own the movie, I physically have it in my house, and it's an upgrade, it has to be at a certain price, or I'm not going to do it. So it's $30 or more. It's got to wait. But I do love this one, and I recently watched it maybe like 4 months ago or so, in that range. So like, kind of recent, but
same-ish.
Yeah. It's and then watching it again, like that, it's for me, this is probably like once a year watch. So watching it twice in this time period. And I did want to wait and watch it with you because I had been diving into the Evil Dead stuff again. Very recently I got into, I watched Rise, which how I felt about that. And then I revisited the Evil Dead remake, which I always liked. And it was kind of, for me, right before that big boom of everything was getting rebooted and remaked. And I actually enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it back then.
So yeah, like the initial Evil Dead remake is like a real confusing one, because when it first came out, like there was, especially in the horror community and the Evil Dead scene, like the general reaction was people knew that it was good, but they hated to admit that it was good, because you know how fans are when it comes to like the old stuff.
Yeah.
And I get that. I get it, but it really, really was a good film. And I still enjoy it to this day. Evil Dead Rise, not so much. Like Evil Dead Rise is like a C minus.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things, and we've talked about it a little bit. I don't even know if we even talked about it live. I was kind of frustrated, somewhat, not over. Like, so it's still in the collection. I didn't get rid of it, and I am interested in whatever's coming next. Do I love that one? No, it's at the very bottom of the barrel. Does it have flaws? Yes. Does it have good stuff? Yes.
Yeah, it does.
And
it does.
So there's it's one of those. I didn't like overly hate it, but I really didn't love it.
Yeah, but like as a franchise, like Evil Dead's like always had like a big place in my heart, because so my introduction to it was my dad knew that there was this big dumb fantasy movie coming out called Army of Darkness, and he had never seen Evil Dead 1 or 2. So I get sick with the flu really bad for like 2 or 3 weeks when I'm like 9 or 10 years old, whenever Army of Darkness came out. Yeah. And he had to be the one to stay home with me. So he rents Evil Dead 1 and 2, and like we spend a chunk of that time that I'm sick just watching those movies over and over and over again, getting ready for the third one.
Oh wow.
So
and then you watch the third one and you're like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, I was like, my brain can't understand why. But no, I mean, still, I was young enough that like that didn't matter so much to me, and I still loved it regardless.
Yeah, well, I think I watched it at the right age too, because what happened was there was this I don't know how my mom got it, but like video rental stores used to do the screener tapes, which I actually have one right here, actually in arm's reach. Promotional screener tape. These were given to video rental stores. Usually, sometimes we actually had a couple when I worked at one before the movie was in theaters, and it's not a finished cut. There's like all kinds of things. Sometimes they do all kinds of like black and white or preventive measures to stop you from copying this. But these would go out to the movie theaters way ahead of time or not movie theaters, video rental stores, so you could buy them. And then they want to know how many copies they want to order, that kind of thing. So they'd send these out, and so we'd get them. And at the time, I don't know what my mom was like doing, but like she convinced the video rental store to give her something, and it was this. It wasn't a screener tape, but it was a tape of trailers. So, but it was trailers that weren't available like on our television, like it weren't available like anywhere, but they were available to the video rental stores to kind of, this is what's going to be coming down the pipeline kind of thing. And it was the coolest thing ever, because on that tape, it had Poltergeist 2, it had Die Hard 2, it had Army of Darkness.
That sounds incredible.
And so it was just really cool. And I think she ended up throwing the thing away, but I watched it over and over and over again, because all of those movies were movies that she wasn't wanting me to watch.
Right.
So there was other things on there, but those are the ones I specifically remember. And it was Army of Darkness. That was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. I thought it was so cool. I really, really wanted to watch it. And I'm sure they kept saying Evil Dead stuff in it, because she was a hard no. But everything they were showing on screen for the trailer was like right up in the fantasy stuff, like, Clash of the Titans type thing, like those types of movies, Ray Harryhausen special effects. It felt, I just didn't see why she was saying no. And so it must have been the Evil Dead connection. But so it took me a while to see it. I finally found it like when I was a young teenager, and I saw this before I saw the Evil Dead ones, and I absolutely loved it, because one, I remembered seeing the trailer when I was a kid and my mom's being a hard no.
Yeah.
And then finally getting able to watch it a couple years later, and I love this film. I think it's great. And then going back and watching the other ones, I was just like, this isn't Army of Darkness, but it's good.
And why is the second one basically the first one?
Yeah. It's just one of those things. Yeah. So I do enjoy this film. And it might be my favorite in the franchise. But obviously they all hit different, right?
Yeah.
They really do. These feel like Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, where I love both of them equal. And I almost like treat them as if they're completely different movies. And I almost do the same with this as well, even though it's the same world, same Ash.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different movie, right? So I do love this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're gonna marathon the movies, you watch 2 Army of Darkness, and then if you're nasty, you watch the Star series, Ash versus Evil Dead. But I think the first one is still my absolute favorite, with this as a close number 2.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, I do love that. But yeah, let's dive in. Let's hit play on this. If you're watching live, which I don't think anybody's watching today, but if you're watching live, definitely go ahead, click the link in the chat. And but if you watch this on the back end, I didn't look today. Where can we watch this for free?
Yeah, where can
so if you're watching this on the back end, which I know some people just like to listen to it, which is totally fine, but some people do like to actually listen to us while watching the movie. And it's so let's give you this: the Army of Darkness. Normally, I have this ahead of time. I was so excited about everything else, I just forgot to get this ready.
Right.
So, it looks like right now, I don't know about later on, but right now you can stream this for free through Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Or you can rent it through your normal rental, digital rental places. Amazon has it for like $3.99. It's not a bad deal. Or obviously, if you have a physical copy, that's always the best way to enjoy a movie. But
yeah,
let's press play now.
Let's do it. Get ready.
All right, so let's see. We're into Cosima. And do we have sound?
I can hear it, yeah.
Excellent. This stupid commercial. Of course, we have a commercial that I could care less about.
Right. While this commercial is playing out, let me give a quick shout out. So any Deadwood fans out there, any Western fans, if you are looking for your next favorite Western show, Hell on Wheels.
That one's been on my radar. I actually have the entire Deadwood series. I found it on DVD at the thrift store, but I've yet to sit down and watch it.
Yeah, Deadwood's one of my favorites.
I hear great things. Everyone has always said it was great. So it's one of those. As soon as I saw it, it was really, really cheap at the thrift store. I was like, got to go home with me. But I just finding the time to watch everything that I have. You got a balanced budget, and I'm pretty sure that's one I can't watch with the kid, right?
No.
And if I choose what I'm going to watch without the kid around, it's going to be like a TV show. I'm going to watch Westworld. So I have the 4K season 1, which I've already seen before. And I have not seen Deadwood, but I would choose Westworld 1 because I want to get the second season so bad, and so I have to re-dive into it to get the second season.
The first season of Westworld's really great. That's what I can say about Westworld.
I know. Everyone said it, but I want to get them all. And that's actually why I put off. Like I watched the very first season and I stopped. I never ever even tried because everyone started to kind of spoil it a little bit and then complain and stuff. And I'm like, but I like it. So I want to dive into that world. Cause like at that point, like it's past, right? So, right. Everybody's done really ranting and raving about it, and everyone else's opinions are gone. So now I can watch it and form my own opinion.
Sure.
Yeah. So good,
man. This is one of those films that is infinitely quotable. Good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun. I could go on.
Yeah. No, this is definitely a great one. I'm telling you, like everything about it is just super fun. The last time I watched this with my wife in the room, she literally just rolls her eyes and she hates all this stuff. She does.
Oh, dude, that's a shame.
Really
no, Selena's got the biggest crush on Bruce Campbell. So anytime I want to watch any Evil Dead film, she is A-okay.
Yeah, no, she could care less.
There's Bridget, my favorite Fonda.
I know. Yeah, she left Hollywood. Hasn't really done anything for a long time.
Did you see that video?
Yes, I wasn't going to bring it up.
Oh my god!
Yes, I wasn't going to bring it up, but no, yeah, I definitely loved her, and I thought she was great in pretty much everything I've seen her in.
Yeah. Even
Jackie
like her.
Brown.
Yeah, even I was going to say even her later stuff. Jackie Brown, Kiss of the Dragon, like. I like watching that lady on screen.
Yeah. You say your favorite Fonda. I mean, she's the prettier Fonda.
I know.
But I will watch Henry Fonda in anything. Just saying. I think she's the better to look at Fonda.
Yes.
And I love this. I love the camera angle. I love everything about it. The practical effects. This hits so many notes for me. And then obviously the humor is so good. But this is not that I can watch with my kid around. So that's another reason why I don't need the 4K today.
Right. And yet here I am I was 10, 11 years old and my dad just rented this while I was sick to death.
Yeah, this one I could see. The first one, maybe not. I mean, maybe if I had boys, I wouldn't care.
Sure,
but,
sure.
I got girls. They're not watching it till way later.
I get you.
Yeah, the whole tree violating scene. I was none of my kids need to see that.
Yeah, the tree had to be a conversation between.
Yeah.
me and my dad.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, that's what I said. Maybe if I had, all boys, but nah, probably not. But this is good. And it's the same. It's the same thing as like my youngest, who loves all this type of stuff.
Mhm.
She's been really, really getting into movies, right? And
Yeah.
but then recently, like she used to watch everything and anything with me and just absolutely love it, like truly love it. But she hit 6 and she's turned into like every girl I've ever met in my life, where she's super opinionated. She's very, very picky. She doesn't like what I make for dinner, like that type of thing. And then just very recently, I don't like black and white movies. Black and white movies are stupid.
Uh-oh.
But she used to love black and white movies. But I did trick her because I got her to watch Africa Screams today, because she got sucked in. She saw The Lion. She was done. Yep.
Yeah, it could just be an age thing, man, because that's starting to happen with Clark. Like at age,
partly an age thing, but I think it's like I'm a woman and I'm better than you. I know better. Like she's already starting to take on some of those like girl things, and I'm just like, oh yeah, and it's great. It's great and a curse at the same time because she's nothing like my wife. My wife is kind of a tomboy. She doesn't care about movies. She doesn't have like the typical girl opinion, but all on her own. And then just this week, at 6, she's like, I want my nails painted. So I had to learn how to paint girl nails, which is something else. So my wife doesn't have makeup. She doesn't wear makeup. She doesn't do any of that stuff. And so like I had to go buy nail polish to then like get her nails done. And she's just like, a little girly girl. And it's fine, but I was like, I was having a movie buddy, and she's like, black and white movies are stupid. And I'm like, I almost wanted to be like, you're stupid.
Stupid.
Yeah, but this is great. I love it. I was like, and then trying to explain the chainsaw hand to my wife, like back in the day, like I was just like, just don't even worry about it. It's just he has chainsaw hand. You don't care anyway. Yeah, but this one's good. The same thing. Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, right? Those are movies I would actually let my youngest watch. It's just the sex scene is just no, absolutely zero.
Yeah.
But if it didn't have that in there, like she could watch that movie and I would care less.
Sure.
So the violence, it really, I guess it depends on your kid. But like as I say that, people are constantly like, oh my God. I was like, what did we watch when we were kids?
Right.
Like I grew up fine. I watched all that type of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, look, like because again, my dad was a big nerd, and he had like a wargaming / role-playing group that he always met up with, so they were all nerds. So like I was just constantly like steeped in this stuff, like like RoboCop, like Dune, like all this stuff as it came out, I was being exposed to.
I was not.
Yeah.
It was not. My mom hated all of it, and then for a long time she was a single mother, so like she hated all of this stuff. Like my whole first, and I've said it many times here on live streams and stuff, my whole first experience with Star Wars was just very, very crappy. And then like when I asked her about it, she really blew it off. But then like when Star Wars became so popular because Disney bought it and it became like a thing, she bragged to everybody that was the first movie she ever saw in the theaters. Yet I didn't find it till I was 13 because my mom hated it and we never had it in the house when she was in charge of renting all the movies when we were kids. And so like I had seen all kinds of stuff. Like my mother rented Fright Night, but I did not see Star Wars. And then I know there was around earlier, like I had a babysitter who had rented Spaceballs, and we watched that. And I thought that was the greatest thing ever because that babysitter rented Goonies and Spaceballs. And in both movies, my mom's like, is it okay? And she's like, yeah, it's fine.
That's awesome.
And so the babysitter like shooed my mom out of the house, and I was like, those are some of the greatest movies ever, right?
Good on that babysitter.
I saw Spaceballs before I ever saw Star Wars, and still had no idea Star Wars was a thing,
right? Until
Until I found it, right?
That's nuts, man.
And then even then, like I remember I was at a kid's house and he had all the toys, and I said, "What are these?" I knew G.I. Joe, I knew all those, but I did not know Star Wars, and so I was like, "What are these?" And they made fun of me for not knowing Star Wars. And I was like, the reality is they had dads and I didn't. Like that was the actual reality. And then they decided to show me Star Wars, but not from the beginning, like not where you should or anything great. They showed me at the very beginning where the droids are going up to Jabba's palace.
Oh, so they started you off with Jedi.
Yeah. which is ultimately is my absolute favorite version of the movie. I mean, I love all those movies, but I love the third one. I love Jedi so much, right?
Yeah.
But and everyone loves Empire. Everyone, iconically is like, oh, Empire's the best movie ever made. Like, and I was like, I see it. It's a great movie. I don't disagree. But my favorite Star Wars is Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
But they started off with that, and I didn't even let it go. I was like, this is dumb. Like, because I was like, two droids. I don't know nothing about it, and they're just talking to each other, and it's like boring. And then they go up to the door and they knock on the door. And then I just gave up. I didn't even see. I should have just waited a little bit longer and saw how awesome it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I went in the other room and played Atari for the rest of the day. And my mom picked me up, and I go, "What's Star Wars?" She goes, "Oh, it's just a dumb space movie." And that was her response. And I didn't find it till I was like 13.
Right.
And it was my stepfather who had all three movies. And so I watched them all by myself back to back. And from then on there, I've always loved them.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got set straight.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. Again, just all the lines, man. All the lines.
See, that's the one thing that not that I really envy, but I don't have that normal knack. Like if it's something that's quoted all the time, like I'll know the quote and I'll know it's from the movie, but on my own, I can't quote stuff. Like it's the same thing. Like like people can hear a song a few times and then know the words and just start singing the song randomly.
Yeah.
I can't. But if a song I've heard a million times and I love is playing or somebody singing, I can sing along.
Sure.
And somehow I have that ability, but like just to actually like start singing the words, it's just not there.
Right.
And I don't know what it is with me. So quoting movies, like the only one I know like a lot because everybody used to say it at the time. It was the leather-bound books, from Anchorman.
Right.
He's like, I've got many leather-bound books, that type of stuff. Like it's just like one of those few things. But all these other ones, like I know they're quotable and I get it. Mm-hmm. And then when people quote them like out in the real world, I get it. But in my own head, I can't remember them.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think I'm broken.
That's okay, man. I got brain stuff too. Like I have a real hard time with names. Like I have to do name association. Like with my wife. Like when we were first getting to know each other.
Oh my God, it's so good.
That is. Look at that.
One, practical effects, but two, over the top.
Yeah.
That's too much blood for one person.
For one person.
This is so good.
I had to like think of my wife as, Catwoman, Selena Kyle. That was the only way I could remember her name.
Oh, it's funny.
So yeah, like I got brain stuff too, man.
Yep. Dead.
Yep.
I love how the arrow pierces the armor.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect. Yeah, but there was something like unabashedly like great about these things. Like they hold no punches. Just people making movies, man, having fun. No, obviously no overarching agendas, no nothing. Like there's just it's just people that truly love film coming together to make something great.
Yeah, man. It like this. I can see why this would be yours and a lot of people's favorite out of the three because this feels like Raimi and all of them making the exact movie that they've wanted to make for like over a decade.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like Three Stooges slapstick in there. Mm-hmm. There's like the blood and gore. There's a lot of Ray Harryhausen stuff in there.
Oh yeah.
It's everything that they back when they were all hanging out in high school wanted to make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's probably it for me. Now I do love the other ones, and there's many Raimi films I love. Like I just watched The Gift, and I did a podcast with Amber. We'll be uploading that at some point.
Yeah,
I got to figure out how to get the audio to an actual like podcast, like Apple or Spotify or one of those things.
Yeah,
but we did record it. We talked about The Gift the entire time, and that enjoyable film. But Raimi did it, and then one of the great things, and I haven't watched like too many documentaries and stuff about like this series, like Evil Dead, Army of Darkness. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the stuff I have heard about Raimi after the fact, like talking about Spider-Man, talking about other things that he's done. A lot of the actors talk about how he kind of lets them develop their own character and just a little bit of free reign.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a interesting cat, man.
Yeah, but it produces quality stuff, and that eye for horror, is just great. I mean, because obviously we see all the notes from like Evil Dead, We see a lot of that in the Spider-Man movies they did, but specifically Spider-Man 2.
Sure.
You see a lot of that horror elements. It's just great. And this is just fun. Obviously, like we were talking about the slapstick, it starts in here. Just beating the hell out of him.
Yeah. Well, dude, that's a Raimi trademark. Like Raimi beats the hell out of Bruce Campbell. Like he puts that guy through hell in every movie.
Yeah. Yeah, just classic. Absolutely love these films. There's something about the set too, and like I've noticed that a lot lately. I talk about it all the time where like things just don't feel as big, and like back then, so you have like different trade. Like when you watch like old like Fred Astaire movies, right?
Yeah.
You know what you're getting into. It's a decently sized set, but then there's always going to be like some kind of dance number, and then there's got to be a set for that, or there's got to be an introduction for that. These just have this like older Hollywood feel, and it's not even old. I mean, it is because we are, but it's 80s, so it's not like super crazy old. It's not like the golden age of Hollywood, but it has this like feel that is not being used today.
Right.
So it's definitely like almost like an era or a time period.
Well, yeah, I
we
mean,
don't have it anymore. Big sets.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of become like a what do you call it? A motif whenever we do an episode of this. Like, it is what it is. Like, movies literally aren't made like this anymore. If this was made today, this would be 70% green screen work.
It would, even like this, like the practical effects, like the spikes coming at them would be great. You know, it's just like, come on, let's do some real stuff.
Yeah.
It adds so much more to the film, and like you know, I all the time rubber monster suits, give them to me.
Yep.
And because like there is that fluidity and movement that even the suit will have with its actor that you don't get with the static CGI image.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I remember listening to the commentary for this. I think you know, it was a thing. It was a Jaws thing where like the mask wasn't working, like they couldn't get the mouth to move or the eyes to blink, and I think Raimi was like, "Just shoot it; they won't care."
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Rawhead Rex, and that mouth never moves.
Yes, exactly.
But like you had consequences in this. Like one, you know, he was going through. He's obviously going to get spiked. You kind of had that feeling, but he barely makes it out. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you kind of expect Ash to make it out, but he barely makes it out. But then the demon gets crushed.
Yep.
You know, so he could have, you know, and the fact that we've already seen him lose his arm, he could have lost a leg.
Right.
You know, so it still puts you in there. And I know, like, if this was my first watch now, I wouldn't be talking at all. I'd be glued to the screen.
Yeah.
But I would have that, like, oh shit, is he going to lose his leg too?
And this whole thing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Like, there's like, there's over the top acting, and then there's this.
Yeah, I know.
This is great. Like, it's not over the top, but it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. And just like Ash's journey as a character, like going from this like nerdy, dorky college student to like literally threatening a bunch of medieval guys because they just tried to kill him.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, and then like we're along for the journey, and you know it's an incredible one, right? But I love these older movies that do this, where you know, all of a sudden, like he's not really questioning anything. Where in real life, like people would be like, "How'd I get here? What's going on?" There'd be a lot of F words.
Right.
There'd be a lot. He's just all right. I just killed a demon. Let's go. Like.
Yeah. That's another trope of modern films. This would be filled with forced cursing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wasn't even talking about that, but you're all right. Yes. There were in the forced cursing. It's so off-putting. It's so off-putting, and me being a guy that's worked in hardworking environments most of his life, and you know, I was a sailor for a long time, so I do have the mouth, and so that part doesn't really, you know, in my own real life, I do it all the time, but to
Sure.
watch it in film, it's off-putting.
Yeah, like I mean, not to get too off topic, but like I remember either on or off air, we were talking about checking out Renfield.
Yeah.
And so like we finally finished the second half of it, and overall it's a pretty decent film, except when Aquafina's on screen.
Yeah.
But my main issue with it is like it's like 80% forced cursing. It's just another example of like you guys are putting this language in because you think that's what an R-rated movie has to be, and you think that that's what the audience wants, and that makes it funny.
Well, it also dumbs it down. So, there's I know, because I don't read as much as I should at all. I watch movies all the time. That in my own vocabulary has suffered from it. So I do know that. And so now you have these movies that are just putting in, vulgate language, which is fine. I mean, vulgate, it comes, of the people, right? So it's the people's language.
Yeah.
And so obviously everybody says it. So it's one of those things. But when it's overused and, like you said, forced,
yeah,
it really is dumbing down the audience. It doesn't add to anything. Like, think about like when you were a kid reading comic books, like the vocabulary that's in those comic books far supersedes anything that you watch in a modern film.
Right.
Yeah, I dislike Renfield, and that was most of the reason.
Yeah.
Nick Cage was great.
Oh, dude, so good.
I love this. He's eating that giant turkey leg. Perfect.
First you want to kill me, then you want to kiss me. Low.
Right. So Ash just living it up, just in the moment.
Yep.
Perfect. Oh, she's amazing too. Big fan.
She's great.
What else was she in?
She did. I remember she was in something European like 2 or 3 years after this. I'm blanking on it. Then you want to kiss me. Hello.
It's so good. Oh, yeah, because I was like, what was it? It took me a while to figure it out too, and I don't know why it took me so long. I just finally watched The Fly 2. So I'd seen the first one years ago. I remember my mom rented it, and I remember I was supposed to be in bed, but I got up and I was like hiding behind a door. So I watched the entire Fly movie when I was a kid, like through the crack of a door.
Yeah.
And so I have seen that movie before multiple times. That was the first time I saw it. So I never saw the second one. And I saw one of the Vincent Price ones, right?
Yeah.
Like now getting this whole set and diving in. Oh my God, she's so hideous.
Yeah. And because we were just talking about Babylon 5, anyone that knows Babylon 5, that's Lita, the redheaded telepath under all that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'll take your word for it.
So do you remember do you remember the Savini remake of Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah.
Okay, the redhead who was Barbara.
All right, I'll follow your story now. Yeah,
that's her.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
No, so I'm watching The Fly 2. Have you ever seen that one?
I have never seen The Fly 2.
Okay. Fly 2, Eric Stoltz is in it, but then the girl, the main lead for the girl, I'm like, sit there, I'm like, she looks so familiar. Like, why do I not know her?
Yeah,
it's Princess Vespa.
Really?
It's literally Princess Vespa is the lead in The Fly 2.
Well, damn.
Like for the longest time, and like it was bothering me. I actually had to look it up. Like I just couldn't. But like obviously, The Fly 2 takes place in a modern 80s setting, and then you're looking at Spaceballs, two complete opposites. So yeah, I'll forgive it that I didn't recognize her, but like I honestly don't recall her in any other films.
No, me neither.
Right now, all I know is she was in Spaceballs and The Fly 2.
It's a hell of a swing career-wise.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. Punch the old lady.
Yep. Boosh.
Boom. Oh, this is so good. That is the one thing, and so I did miss the that box set that they came out with, a really big box set. It's still available. I've seen it a couple places.
Oh, the Evil Dead.
And it's got all the 4K sets in there, like all the Evil Dead stuff.
Yeah.
But the it has the one thing I hate where you open it up and the discs are like on that cardboard.
Yep.
You're gonna scratch them. It's not that great. And then the whole thing, even though the presentation looks nice, actually taking it down to sit down to watch the movies, it becomes more of a daunting task than anything. It's just more of a really expensive display piece. And so I missed that one. But I was very tempted at the time to get it, and I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I was tempted when I saw it,
hand.
but I've got, again, like, being the fan I am, like, I've got all the films, I've got the show. Like,
did you get that big box set?
No, because I got it all. I was like, I'd basically be buying it for the display.
Yeah, we're just hanging out watching the Army of Darkness.
Hey, what's up, Joe Ball? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Yeah, she's a pretty
I don't
lady.
know what else she's been in. Let's see what else. Who is that? Sheila? Is that who that is?
I believe so.
I can't tell because she has a modern picture. Like, yeah, it's Sheila. Okay, she's not gross, but like she's aged, and she's still beautiful older, but it's hard to tell. Like, there's a big. You're like, damn, that's her. Like,
okay,
it takes a second, but. Yeah, she's great. Let's see. What was it? She was born in 1965. Let's see. She was in Bicentennial Man. I didn't care for that one. The one where Robin Williams is a robot. Yeah. She was in Matilda. Oh, that's her. She was Miss Honey. That's Miss Honey in Matilda, which comes out tomorrow on 4K, guys. She's in that movie Old.
She's in Old?
Yeah.
The
I never saw
Shyamalan?
Old. Yeah, that's why I never saw it. She was the adult Maddox.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. She's Mary Parker in The Amazing Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize her. I didn't recognize her. Yeah, she's Mary. She plays Mary.
Huh. I think I saw that movie once, and I was like, never again.
I don't hate him. I don't love him, but Tobey Maguire's my Spider-Man.
Yeah.
She's in 13 Ghosts, which is one. I have the original. I don't have the remake. So she's in the remake 2001 with Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard fan. So it is one I want to get. It is in my wish list. I'm going to have to try to get that at some point. I do like it, but I don't like it like $23 like it.
No.
Yeah. So, next time they do a sale, I'll be trying to pick that one up. It's one I enjoy. I think Matthew Lillard is a pretty underrated actor.
I agree with you, man. I think that dude should have a way bigger career than he does.
I mean, he's doing okay with doing a lot of the voice acting. I mean, he got that Scooby-Doo money.
Yeah, that's true.
Doing well over there. Did you ever see Spanish Judges?
No.
So I have it on DVD. It's a phenomenal movie. It was a hidden gem I found, back in the early 2000s at the video rental store. He's in it. Vince D'Onofrio's in it. It's like a heist movie, but then like it's wrapped up in all kinds of other stuff. It's really enjoyable. It's like one of those ones I love where the entire set is, I mean, the entire movie, basically almost all of it takes place in the one room.
Okay.
And so it's like one of those. It's really enjoyable. And then like there is not blackmail, but there's manipulation and like type of stuff. Oh, it's so good though. So it's these Spanish Judges are these pistols, these like really like old like pirate style dueling flintlock pistols.
Yeah.
They go steal them. But then Matthew Lillard has like some other agenda going on because like they're going to auction them off or something. I don't remember the exact thing, but it's a phenomenal movie. It's only on DVD. It's never been brought to Blu-ray, and I don't think anybody's ever seen it. But Matthew Lillard's in it, and it was great. There's that one and The Curve. Those are the Curve I don't have, and I'd love to have that one. That was a good one too. It was a college movie, but like they figure out if your roommate dies, then you get 4.0 average. So they die the roommate for him.
Oh,
and they make it look like an accident.
That's clever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But Matthew Lillard's in it. It's a really enjoyable film.
I just went looking really quick for Spanish Judges, and the first thing that pops up on Amazon is a Chinese bootleg.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very difficult movie to find. I think I found it at the thrift store, but I have seen it on eBay, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard, like Hackers was the first thing I saw him in, and he instantly became one of those that dude actors for me. Like every time he popped up, I'm like, oh, look at that guy.
Yeah, real quick. This is the movie poster to the movie. I do love this. Like normally I don't like these types of things where it's a little slapsticky, a little kind of goofy. Yeah, this is the movie poster.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's the movie you're looking for. It really is very underrated, enjoyable film. It's one of those. Obviously, it's if you like Suicide Kings, Pool Hall Junkies, like those types of films, that'll be right up your alley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, this whole segment goes straight slapstick. Like this borders on like the Three Stooges.
And that's the thing is like I hate movies like this. I really, really do. And this one, I don't know if it's just the time that I had ever saw it or whatever, but I've always appreciated it. Like I've never not liked it. Yeah. And like other movies that do stuff like this, like I'm not a huge fan. Like, well, now that's to put it lightly. I can't stand the scary movies. I don't like those. Anything that's like in that slapsticky humor, I just don't like. Airplane, I don't like it. Like I do all Airplane.
So you can't even do like a Naked Gun?
We tried watching it here once. I ended up talking about something else completely and just ignoring the movie because I couldn't get into it. And I didn't do it on purpose. Like I just ended up rambling. And then all of a sudden the movie was over. And so I tried.
The Leslie stuff gets a pass for me. I enjoy those, but yeah, when it comes to like the whole scary movie thing and that whole genre that it kind of birthed, that like.
But this works because we're dealing with supernatural, we're dealing with an Necronomicon, like there's all kinds of stuff. So this one works, on so many levels for that reason. If this didn't have any of that other stuff, like I would be pissed. Like I would be like, "What is this? I don't want to watch this." But I think it works for everything, and adding in the humor. Right now, you've added in a little bit younger audience.
Yeah.
Because like I know my wife has put her foot down, but I'd let my kid watch this.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, especially compared to 1 and 2, I don't think there's anything in this that's too.
Yeah, like zero chance she's watching 2. For the next decade, like 1 or 2, like not at all. But this one, oh yeah, it may be in like a couple of years. I'd watch this with her in a heartbeat. I mean, I'd watch it with her now if my wife already hadn't put her foot down.
Yeah, man.
It's like, and like I say it all the time, I get kind of crap for it, but like I have 5 kids, mostly daughters, and none of my other kids would have done that, but my youngest doesn't have nightmares. She doesn't have the same like thing. Like she sees kind of this stuff and like thinks it's great. All from the very beginning, she's always had that, and so it's just different. Like I said, she watched Predator and absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
So this would be right up her alley. It's something she would enjoy, and I would definitely allow her to watch it. And it's just fun. Like I said, it's goofy. It fits the movie.
It does.
If the movie was this, like through the whole entire thing, it would be off-putting.
Right.
But I like it. I think it works because like now imagine like if you just take in the Grimm's fairy tales, right? And you go on a journey as you're telling a story, you're telling a type of movie like this, and it's hitting up all the different fairy tales throughout the movie. That's almost how this felt, where now we're at this scene. This to me was almost like the Hansel and Gretel story. They go to the house, and then some stuff happens, and the witch tries to eat them. It's a very similar notes, and that's how I felt as we're watching the movie. So just to me, it worked as this is the next chapter.
Yeah, and like I know everybody from like just Evil Dead fans that I've seen do streams and stuff, and even like the Red Letter guys, they always bring up this scene in terms of like why is it in the movie, and I can't believe that no one ever got that this is the Evil Dead moment of the film. Like he's alone in, well, it's not a cabin, but
yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Like this is them like doing the homage going back to the first 2 movies.
Yeah,
like he gets possessed.
But like, I don't get why like people complain about it because to me it's a very enjoyable. But like I said, if this stuff was in other films, I'm like, no, not for me.
Sure.
It works with Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it might be because of the time in my life when I saw it. I was a little bit younger. I was like early teens, I guess. In like 11, 12, 13 in that range when I finally saw this, and it's great. It's great. And on top of the fact that my mother didn't like it, it's extra.
that
like,
gives it extra points.
It does. It really does. Yes. But no, yeah, the slapstick stuff, it never works for me. I don't hate the Stooges, but I'm not the biggest Stooges fan.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. Like I mean, like I appreciate them. I remember watching them. I'll definitely sit down and watch Stooges. I have one or two tapes here in the house somewhere of Stooges. For the most part, it's enjoyable, but they don't get like a free pass with me where everything they do is amazing and I got to consume it all.
Yeah, I think that goes back to like my mom's side of the family. Like my mom and her dad were huge into the Stooges and the Marx Brothers. So yeah, like
Marx Brothers, that's pretty good too.
Yeah,
that's literally all right. So going back to that, I don't know if I was telling somebody about this. The Fortune. Have you ever seen that with Warren Beatty and Jack Nicholson?
No.
Oh, it's a phenomenal film. You have to watch it.
Okay.
The movie poster alone sold me. It was a blind watch. I blind buy.
Okay.
I've never seen anything, but the movie poster, Jack Nicholson looks so freaking crazy on it. It's not even funny. And the entire film, it takes place in like the 30s or in that range, right? And the entire film feels like a combination of the Marx Brothers with the Stooges, with like old cartoons from that time period mixed in with this just really enjoyable old Hollywood film.
Nice.
And it's so great. And it like when I say cartoony, at one point they're carrying a body and then looking around in the middle of the night trying to like ditch this body, and it's just everything about it is so enjoyable.
Nice.
Yeah,
okay.
Really fun.
What's the title again?
What was it?
What's the title again?
It's called The Fortune.
The Fortune. Okay.
Jack Nicholson, Warren Beatty, and then those two. I don't know if they've been in any other films together, but those two together was almost as good. Not even almost. Like it was as good as Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon together. Like when they're at their peak. So it's just for me it worked on so many levels. Yeah, that movie poster, like the original movie poster sucks, but the Olive Films, either Twilight Time put it out. So Twilight Time, the image they used on the cover was amazing.
Okay.
Hello, Feline.
Hey, Feline
in the house. Hail. Yeah. We're just hanging out watching Army of Darkness and talking about it. So the links are pinned in the chat if you want to hang out and watch it. If not, we're just going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. So yeah, The Fortune is a phenomenal movie, and it was like that. But like as you said, the Marx Brothers stuff, it just kind of rolls all those things nicely.
Okay.
And it works. It so works.
All right, I will check that out.
Yeah.
You said you brought up Jack Nicholson. That reminded me. I heard like the most interesting quote today. Someone was like, "Walton Goggins is just Jack Nicholson in a different font."
All right, I'll take that one.
And now I just want to see him do cosplay as his version of Joker.
That would be interesting. Yeah, 3 books.
This is also the movie where they kind of cement Ash is kind of stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what sold me on the movie. Obviously, I was like, "Oh, Warren Beatty, Jack Nicholson, I'm in." But this sold me. Check this out. Tell me you don't want to watch this right now. I mean, after the movie.
Look at Nicholson.
Right? Yeah. Literally, I was like, I have to have this movie, and it was so good. It's so good. It really enjoyable blind buy. Oh, but as I was saying that, here was the one scene I was talking about, where the whole thing is just it's so comical and like right out of a cartoon.
Yeah.
was
Look at
this?
that prosthetic work.
Oh, it's so good. So good. Is this right here. So they're as they're carrying her, they're looking around, and it's just so comical. They play off each other so well. It is amazing. I really hope to find more films with them together.
All right.
You know, obviously comedies with them together. They were amazing.
I dig it.
I don't know what kind. Obviously, they had a way bigger budget on this than any of the other films, but I don't know was there any studio meddling? I know that's more of a modern thing, but it has happened. Like obviously, there was the whole Richard Donner fiasco. Because like this one, you know, as wild as it gets, and it works. I think it works. I don't think there's any like weird stuff where I'm like, oh, I hate this. You know, at that time, you just like, did he have free reign?
My understanding is, yeah, he had free reign because, you know, like
it's good.
Because coming off of Evil Dead 2, like that movie was partially studio financed and it turned a profit. So, you know,
it says can't tonight, but I'd love to come hang out sometime. Oh yeah, no, obviously,
anytime.
Anytime.
But yeah, like so coming off of Evil Dead 2, like they were willing to take a risk and just give him a budget and let him do whatever he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up bombing terribly, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. Oh, and no, Feline. I mean, obviously, you're more than welcome to come hang out anytime. But the link in the chat is actually just to watch the movie. It doesn't bring you on the show. It's just so you can watch the movie. I don't know if there was a confusion or not.
Right.
But obviously, would also love to have you on the show at some point. Yeah, and again, like this doesn't feel like a small set, even though it is. Like that's a much smaller set than what we have seen before.
Yep. And
this whole cemetery scene, and it works. Like they add the hill in, and back then they knew how to light the sets. They knew how to make they get the best out of camera angles. Like listening to old like cinematographers and people making the movies that were not the actors, not the directors. They knew so much about their craft, and all that stuff is gone now.
Yeah,
with the fix it and post attitude. Like this, even though I know this is a smaller set, it just it feels much larger than it is.
Yeah, just the lighting, the backdrop. Like you're absolutely right. It's a lost craft. It's a lost art form. And again, I understand working within the studio system. You kind of have to play ball, but this is why I like smaller independent, films these days. Like the one that I always go back to is The Void. Like, have you ever seen The Void?
Okay, it sounds familiar, and I don't know if it's because you told me before or I actually know about it.
Right. So basically, The Void was completely funded through, I believe, Indiegogo. Not even Kickstarter, Indiegogo.
Okay, then no, I don't know. I don't know The Void.
Yeah, so it was a crowdfunded film, and their whole goal was just to do like an homage to The Thing. It's a small movie about like a sheriff and a couple of local townspeople get stuck in a hospital, and the whole thing has a cosmic horror bent to it. And it's all just practical effects. And it's super low budget, so you can tell a lot of the time, but they still made the most with every penny. And I think that movie's incredible for what it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. There's something when people truly are passionate about it, truly, they're not just in it for the money, right? Because you can look at photographs. I'm not a sports guy at all, but my wife is. And so you can look at photographs of like, sports guys from the 70s that they really just loved what they were doing. And like now it's all about the money. It's all about the paycheck.
Right.
There's pictures of Jim Brown covered in mud, playing in mud. They don't do that now. It's just one of those things where it's just, again, I'm not a sports person, but there are plenty of them out there. So when you correlate it to movies, it's the same thing. There are people that are in it for the paycheck, and you can tell, and there's people that are in it because they're really passionate. And then like things like Dick Miller, right?
Yeah,
Dick Miller never was this breakout star or anything, but he knew what he was. Like he was a B movie favorite, and he was great at what he did in every role I had ever seen him in. Now, I've never seen every single Dick Miller movie ever.
Yeah.
But every movie I have seen him in, which is a lot, he brings it every single time. Even his very last movie, Burying the Dead, like it was like his last movie before he passed away. He's like really up there at that point, and he's still putting it in, and so it's just enjoyable.
Yeah,
enjoyable.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the monster effects.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good.
I know. And now as like the bad guy of the movie, he gets to ham it up even more.
Yeah. Yeah, so there is something about like even these lower budget films that like the people involved in making it, they wrote a story, everyone acting it, there's a job to do. It's just so much enjoyment out of stuff like that. Those are I always talk about going into the older movies, enjoying that, but
I love that. I love that delivery.
That's great, yeah. But you go back to like the films. What I just watched, and I did a review. The review will be up tomorrow. But Freeway. So it's a movie I love. I watched it in the '90s. The movie was done in '96, but it was the same director the guy who wrote it also directed it.
Okay.
And not a big name at the time. Actually, I kind of forget it now, but he's decent. And so there was a lot more of that where you had like these guys that just, hey, I got this idea, I'm writing the script, and then they get to direct it because it's their vision to begin with. And yeah, that movie didn't cost a lot. It wasn't a huge budget movie, but it was enjoyable, and it has become a cult classic on home video. And so Vinegar Syndrome just put it out on 4K. They did a 4K remaster from the 35 millimeter negative. Phenomenal experience, but that movie wouldn't exist if this one guy didn't write it and direct it. He just absolutely believed in it that much, and the studios took a chance. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, man. Like, and not to get too topical, but like I think all of this stuff with the multiple strikes now possibly extending to video games, I think all of this stuff is about to bring in a sea change for the entire industry.
Oh, I think so too.
Hopefully for the better.
Feeling says, you rival me in DVDs. I love it. Well, I said, I would love to see your collection someday, but I haven't even like began to touch the collection. I have so much. And then finally I got these shelves. So I got a lot of stuff that was in boxes and in closets. I finally got it out. So I've been able to weed some stuff out that I didn't really love or I didn't need, or maybe I had doubles of, to curate the collection more into what I love and watch some things that I haven't seen in so long again. So that's been enjoyable because this up here is just DVDs, VHS. The top shelf is Blu-rays, but they're like special edition stuff. But all the other Blu-rays and stuff are all downstairs. Yeah. Like
that's just
older Herb,
you
can't even tell. Yeah, why didn't people talk like that anymore? I'll take that all day. Like I want to live my life some days like I'm at the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah, man.
Like, yeah, the these and the thous, give it to me.
Right.
And then the women dress like that, give that to me too. And then look, a dragon, I'll take that too.
Great
I love it.
This movie, man.
Yeah, and I was like, it's the same trope. It's always great. Like she had plenty of time to run away. She just stood there screaming.
Yep.
Oh, it's classic.
Just stand there and scream, doll face.
Yeah, and I love the mask is not even moving. That's okay. I'm fine. God, it's so good.
That stop motion.
Yeah, and then like normally I'd be mad, right? Because obviously the movie poster is selling us on the chainsaw,
right?
And now we have a robot hand, which like I said, normally I'd be mad, but it works because obviously we'd run out of gas, and that would have bothered me if like we're still using the thing, and then
Exactly.
at some point you know that there's got to be a gas issue.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. Like you said, hamming it up. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the stop animation here is awesome as well.
These
Yeah, again,
these
that's a
models.
lost art. It's gone. Like people don't do it anymore.
Like I'm legit trying to think of someone who still uses stop motion, and outside of like Wes Anderson when he does those animated films, like I can't. Nobody does it.
No, and I think like the last one that was kind of stop motion was still CGI. I think
Right.
it was CGI that they made look stop motion.
Right. Like
Um,
and that's pretty much where Leica's at. Like the Box Trolls and all those movies.
yeah. Those are CG, right? Those are computers, right?
I mean, they're stop motion, but they're CGI enhanced.
Yeah. Oh yes, Kiss the Monster.
Yep.
I just love it. I was like the humor, everything about it is fun. This is probably the most fun movie that I've watched all year, and I've seen it before. Like I kind of been watching this since I was a teenager. So
Yeah.
that's telling you something that this is the most fun movie I've seen all year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely a once a year because sometime, usually around fall, like right before Halloween season, like we'll burn through like all 3 Evil Dead films.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. I'm still working on the pile. I got like I put out 10 of family friendly Halloween movies. So
Yeah.
doing that and still burning through that pile. But yeah, we already put up the Halloween decorations. We couldn't not. I got a 6-year-old. We're in the store. The Halloween decorations at the stores. You can't. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're early. It's fine.
Yeah.
But truth be told, like I've been putting up the Christmas decorations like it's like the day after Halloween every single year.
Yeah.
And my wife has been mad about that. But this year she's gone on deployment, so they will be up. And my daughter's birthday is in November.
Mhm.
So on her birthday, we put up the Christmas tree.
Oh, that's nice.
And that's my wife is kind of irritated about that one. And so I just did it. So now it's a tradition.
Yeah.
So yeah, every year on my kid's birthday, we put up the Christmas tree. Well, for years I always had a real one, and then
Yeah.
finally we live in military housing, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt to do the real tree here. Not a lot of room, so I finally broke down and I got like an artificial one,
Mhm.
and so because of that, we could put it up so early. So yeah, her birthday, the Christmas tree goes up. I love the Fu Manchu.
Yeah, and the last dude, there he is. That's Ted Raimi under all that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She says you have to add Practical Magic to the list. I own it. I have it on VHS. I actually, and very soon, I had to. I was hanging out with these other movie guys, and they put out this challenge, and it was to be able to show off a single movie every single year consecutively, as far back as you can
Yeah.
to today, to 2023.
Mhm.
And as I can go back, I have movies from the 20s in my collection.
Okay.
As far back as I can go consecutively is 1931. So that's the earliest film I can go to, and I have a film every single year to 2023. And as I was going to do that, my app crashed, and I don't remember my password. I had scanned all my movies, so I'm rescanning every single one of my movies, which is a daunting task. And some of them, like the box sets, there's like 10 movies in there, but
Right.
there's only one barcode, and so you have to actually manually
Oh.
type in each movie, and it's such a daunting task. So I've been working on it. I'm almost finished, and as I get through there, before I do that challenge, I had wanted to do. I have all my VHS movies. I wanted to show off all the VHS movies, and in that, I have probably like now 30 or 60 movies that have just never even been opened, VHS tapes. So I
Right.
was going to do an VHS unboxing, brand new sealed VHS unboxings. And
Okay.
in that, the one I have is Practical Magic. It's
Nice.
I have it. I found it at the thrift store years ago, and it's never been opened, but I do own it. Yeah.
I know that.
Yes. And we went from Ash being an idiot to Ash being a chemistry master.
Exactly.
But then there's like something about that too. Like, you know, so you go back when I was a kid, none of those like even I never questioned it. It's just is because that's what you see on screen. And like now you're kind of forced into kind of questioning it because of everything else. Like I don't think I would have if movies continued to be at this kind of caliber, just fun.
Sure.
You know, and just lately movies aren't as fun.
No, where movies are at now is they invite you to like pick them apart. They not even just that. Movies today pick a fight with you. Yes, that too.
Literally.
Yes. Yeah. No, I know that I've checked out of a movie when like my writer brain turns on and I start dissecting what doesn't work about it, like as I'm actively watching it.
Let's see. Feline says Luke keeps telling me to download all my movies. No, physical. Own it. You download it. It's not the same. I've definitely put movies onto a computer, and I've done like the Plex server, or I do Kodi. That's the one I use. But I do the server, and that way it's just easy for the kid to access them. It's kind of a nice thing.
Yeah.
But I still use VHS tapes. I'm telling you, physical is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with digital archives. That's fine. Yeah. But no, I mean, like half the enjoyment of having a film collection is actually, you know.
Well, yeah, it is. It really is the packaging. There's just so many cool things with it, and you know, for me, it's just where it's at. Let's see, I don't even have everything cool around here. All right, let's see this one here. So, like. This is one of my favorite musicals. It's Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. But like just that you don't get that experience by just clicking on it digitally.
Right.
And it's something you probably forget about. But then the special features, you're not getting in every release of these films, sometimes the special features are lost. So I have movies on DVD that the special features only exist there and they don't exist anywhere else. And so you're not getting that digitally.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, this is stuff that like Del Toro goes on all the time about, like, you know, there's something to the act of like holding something that makes it like
Nolan just went off on that too recently.
Yeah, that's right.
Physically having it, and then on top of like the compression issues and the quality is not the same, and you know why take all that time to an effort to film it correctly and audio correctly, and then you're just going to stream it anyway and just ruin that experience. But there is something about physically holding the package. And I've said that before about video renting. So back in the day, we used to rent it. Oh, I love these guys.
Yeah.
So obviously Bruce Campbell and the mask there is perfect, but these stop motion characters, skeletons are just so good. And you don't get anything like that now. Because then you'll go back and look at like obviously Clash of the Titans, like all that like early Ray Harryhausen stuff is just great, right? I'm not gonna deny it's not great. It's got its place.
Yeah,
but these are amazing, and I don't know if it's like it being at night that kind of maybe helped out the special effects a little bit, but it's still so good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, I understand, like, the hardcore fans who are like, oh, this is the worst one. Like, I get it, but regardless of your feelings on the movie, like, it is 100% how they envisioned the film.
Mm-hmm.
So I give it credit for that. And on top of that, I really, really like it. I think it's a really dumb, fun movie.
Feeling says, I've been off a grid a few times, but I still had my movies and music. Yeah, and that's another thing. And then I actually live in a city, like it's not the biggest city in the world, but I live in a pretty decent sized city. And on a daily basis, I have internet issues. Like all morning long, I try to upload 2 videos, like 2-minute videos to be posted throughout the rest of this week.
Yeah.
And it took all day because my internet just kept going in and out. Like if I was trying to stream something or watch something, it's a pain. Absolutely not. And then you're paying all the money. I pay a ton of money for internet and I pay a ton of money. And it's like on a daily basis. There's not a single day that goes by where I don't have like garbage internet or it goes out. It just goes out.
Yeah, we're in Bufu land, man. We're out in the trees, and internet is always crashing here.
It's garbage. Like screw that. And so like yeah, and it's not reliable. So on top of even if you have good internet, at one time I had like the amazing like at one time we lived at a place where I had the FiOS internet. That's super fast and like was really really nice. But even then, there's buffering.
Yeah,
you know. The worst thing that could happen to me is one of my movies can get damaged, and which has happened in my lifetime. But I'm 41 years old, and the amount of time that it's happened is not even close to the amount of movies I have. And I watch at least three. Okay, I watch one movie every day, no matter what. Like that's a fact. One movie every day. But on average, there's about 3 movies every single day that get played in this house.
yeah.
Yeah, on top of the ones that my kid watches. So.
Right. Yeah, and then you get into the whole like ownership thing and digital copyright and like
that's
even,
another thing.
Yeah, like even the trivial stuff, like if a movie gets involved in a lawsuit, they might pull it from the servers, like that whole thing.
Well, yeah, you have like so think about now, like there's so many movies that we don't have on 4K or Blu-ray or whatever because there's rights issues.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes down to the music rights issues. So now the movie's not available anywhere. Like look at Stakeout.
Right.
It's a movie I absolutely love. I don't know if it's available to stream anywhere, but we have another Stakeout, the one with the crappy one with Betty Rebel there, Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell's in that one. But so we have that on Blu-ray, but the first one, the only thing it's ever been on is DVD.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that or you can't find it, I don't have Stakeout. I don't physically own this on any format. So like I have the sequel on Blu-ray. It's just frustrating because somewhere along the lines there's a rights issues. Look at Dogma. The Dogma Blu-ray went out of print a long time ago. There's the whole Weinstein thing. And then when everything was sold off to pay for his legal bills, him and his brother still owned the rights to Dogma themselves, not the company. Right. And so they just got that back. They forked over a ton of money and he finally got it. So eventually we're going to be getting that, but how long? It's going to be a remaster. There's going to be a whole thing. It's going to be a while before it comes out, but that movie, it went out of print 6-7 years ago or so, and you can buy the Blu-ray on eBay right now for $200.
Right.
That's nuts.
Right.
And so it's just physically own stuff. We have it.
Like I think the other big example is like the Friday the 13th series. Like when Scream did that box set, like how long and how many lawyers did they have to go through to make that work?
Right. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Yeah. Just the amount of great franchises that the different movies in the franchise are owned by different people. And so it creates a whole issue.
Right.
It's horrible. But Feline says, my youngest son is the reason I've lost some movies. Yeah. And that is something I had the foresight over because my youngest now, when she was born was about the time that I went heavy into like getting the VCR tapes again and doing all that. So then about the time where she could just kind of help herself, every single movie she has access to until like recently, and she's very responsible now, but like all the movies she had access to was all VHS tapes and she would just be able to help herself. And that was just a very pleasant experience. And not having that. And I had the Blu-ray closet literally with the kid door handle. She couldn't get into it. And then just this year, she asked me if she could take it off because she was telling me she's grown up now. I said, if there's any issue in this room at all, it's going back on. And you're going in it. That's it.
So that Friday the 13th set. Well, what's toys, bench warmers?
Toys, bench warmers, Sandlot, Mask, Three Amigos. All right, so I have all of those except for bench warmers. Toys is one of my absolute favorite. The Toy is also one of my favorites. Sandlot, it's great. I never was a sports guy, so like I kind of put that one off for years. I finally watched it. I bought it for my wife the first year that our kid was born. So it was the first time she was a mother. So for Mother's Day, it was one of her favorites. And that was the first time I had actually sat down to watch it. So I enjoyed The Sandlot. And Three Amigos, it took me a long time to watch that one too. I enjoy it. I found it at the thrift store. And Mask, is that the one with Cher? Because I've never seen it, but I do own it. And Crazy Man says he loves this movie. Yeah, that weird one with Cher. Yeah, of course you do. He killed those movies. Oh, it sucks. Sucks.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah, this is a great movie.
that Friday the 13th set. Clark's 2 years old. He's running around the house, knocks into the case that it's on, goes flying to the ground. The box is damaged. So yeah, my son has definitely caused some casualties here.
Were you talking about that really good Friday the 13th box set, the ones back there?
Yeah, the back right corner is split and like
it's horrible.
yeah.
This one here, I want to show it off because I was actually going to make a short on this one. This is something I only ever owned the first movie because it's my absolute favorite. But then I always liked this box set, and studio companies don't put out box sets like this anymore.
Yeah.
You do get a lot cooler stuff like this out of the boutique Blu-ray labels now, but the studios, they don't put anything like this anymore. But look at this Nightmare on Elm Street box set.
Right.
And then each individual movie creates Freddy, and you get an entire DVD full of what is this? The encyclopedia.
Oh, nice.
So it's just the Nightmare series encyclopedia. So you have an entire special features disc separate from all the movies. It's super awesome. But then the box set itself is just really, really incredible.
Yeah, that's a nice
and then
one.
for the longest time, this was expensive on eBay because I don't think these have ever come to Blu-ray as an entire box set like this. And so I know this was very expensive for a long time. And I found this at the thrift store sitting here on the shelf like that. And it was like $5. I said,
yeah.
home with me. And I absolutely love it. So I'm going to be diving into this. It's been a while since I've seen all of them. The first one I watch every single Halloween without a miss, but I'm going to watch every single one of these this Halloween. Looking forward to it.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, the big box set that your kid destroyed. Mine's sitting on that very top shelf, so my kid can't touch it.
Yeah. I mean, I did a pretty good job putting it back together, but it's still got it.
It's one of those things. I mean, realistically, you want the movies, but as part of buying it, the whole experience, the packaging is one of those things.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, I did that. I don't remember which one it was. There was something I wanted for a long time, and then I had finally got it, and then I walked downstairs with it, and then I dropped it. And then I damaged, I dinged the corner or something. And I was just like, oh, I hated myself, but it was just like, it's just a piece of cardboard. So, but I was just like, but I wanted this specific item.
There's nothing worse than when you get a movie in the mail and you're carrying it inside and you can hear shaking of bits and the case is just messed up.
Yeah. Although I've never had an issue, I've had an issue where DVDs got scratched, but anytime it's happened to me, the Blu-rays are solid. Obviously I have to replace all the plastic and replace the case, but I've never had scratches from that.
Yeah.
But if I find it in a store where it shakes like that, I will not buy that one.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
But yeah, when they come in the mail, it is kind of disheartening, but I haven't had an actual issue with the physical disc.
Right.
Yeah, but this is a great movie. I do enjoy this one always. Everything about it, it's just again, it adds in all the right notes. A little bit of humor, a little bit of gore, a lot of ash. Yeah, it's like a perfect recipe for a movie right there.
Yeah, it's now you got Ash fighting himself.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. What was it? I just watched Cloak and Dagger with my kid, and just explaining to her, so for her to notice that Jack, the imaginary friend, was also his dad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the same actor, and so for her to notice that was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the special effects back then, I think, were just a little bit better. Now everything's like CGI. It's just it's not the same.
It's not.
Even though, and I talk about it all the time, and I forget the movie, but there's this one where a girl is clearly riding a motorcycle.
Okay.
It's a girl. But when they actually are riding, it's a dude. And there's a part where she turns around and you can actually see that it's a dude.
Okay.
And drives off. But then it's a girl that gets off. And I mean, they've made fun of it in cartoons. They've parodied that and stuff. But there's an actual movie that happened in. But even though I'm like, oh, that's clearly a dude. It might have been Buffy.
Could
but it's
be.
like clearly a dude, and I'm like, but it's
Right.
it's fine. It's like in Princess Bride when they roll down the hill. It's a
Mhm.
dude in the dress rolling down the hill. I know it is,
Yeah.
but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Give me that. Don't
Watching
put
out
it in
for
post.
watching out for stunt doubles is one of my favorite things when I've seen
Yeah.
a movie a handful of times.
Oh yeah, 100%. Let's see. Feeling says, "Did you watch the Bruce Campbell TV series?" I did not. I started watching the first episode, and it was one of those things where I don't know why I never revisited it.
It's great. And the end of the series, which it got canceled, so it wasn't
Yes, it
supposed
is.
to be the ending. The end of the series pays off big time on the original ending for Army of Darkness.
Crazy Man says, "Jack of all trades or bros? O Country Junior. What?
Briscoe County
Oh,
Jr.
Briscoe County Junior. Yeah, I was like, bros. That's Crazy Mad's favorite movie. Weird, weird, Crazy Mad. Yeah, Briscoe County Junior. That's a great show. I
It's a
actually
great
have
one.
it. I really enjoyed that one. But at the time when it was on, I loved it. But then I just remember my dad complaining about it. He didn't like it for whatever reason. And then there was I don't know if it was everywhere, but where we were, there was like a time change or a channel change where it was on. So the time slot I had been watching it on, I just thought the whole thing got canceled. And I never knew there was a whole rest of the season until I found it a few years ago. So yeah, I do enjoy that one. I wish there was more of it. And not really more of it. I wish there was more of that back in the 90s.
Yeah, definitely.
Young Bruce Campbell, that whole thing.
Yep. Jack
And
of all
Hale
trades was
Summers,
high.
yeah.
Hey, some person.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got Burn Notice. I love Burn Notice. It's the Miami
skipped
Vice.
that one. Kind of
What's
skipped
that?
that one. I do like Miami Vice though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I skipped Burn Notice. There wasn't a lot of modern TV shows that I had really got into. Boardwalk Empire was one. I got
Boardwalk's
into that.
great.
Pretty
Yeah.
heavy. Yeah, pretty much everything on the shelf. I mean, very recently I've picked up some more modern stuff because I've been getting them at the local used bookstore. Has had stuff really cheap, and trading in movies, and then just getting TV shows out of the deal has been really great.
Sure.
So I have picked up a few things, but like most of my collection over there, other than Weeds is a newer one. I always enjoyed that one, even though I just never liked drugs and weed. I never ever got into it, but I do like the show. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Archer, which pisses me off still, season 10 has never been put on DVD. So I have season 1 through 9, and then the rest of the seasons never got put on DVD.
Mm-hmm.
And like all the shows we grew up with, like Quantum Leap, a lot of the stuff, the older stuff, like the original Addams Family, the black and white stuff, Bewitched, stuff like that. I Dream of Jeannie. My kid loves I Dream of Jeannie.
Nice.
Thinks it's the greatest thing ever. So yeah, I got a lot of that stuff. And as far as like, there really hadn't been a lot of new stuff. Like everyone talked about how 24 was amazing. I just passed on it.
24 was okay. Like I made it through the first season, but I don't know, like a couple episodes into the second season, I was like, I get it. Like I get the shtick. I don't know that I don't need like 5 seasons of this.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, or you won't understand it.
That's true.
Crazy Mad says Ash vs. the Evil Dead is fantastic.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I think it's because I don't stream anything anymore. I think that's why. Can I physically buy it?
Yeah, you can. They're on the shelf, man.
They're not on my shelf.
Well, I'll show you after the show's over.
Not a fan of the new Quantum Leap. Yeah. We watched the trailer and I made fun of it. It was ludicrous. It wasn't even like they weren't even trying to make me believe that it could be good. Like they like that whole trailer was just trash. So I have the original Quantum Leap. That's what I have. I didn't even try to watch I watched the trailer and that's it. That new one. I even showed my wife who hates all the modern stuff, but she's also not like a huge movie fan and stuff. And she was just turned off by the entire thing. And obviously the target audience for that type of stuff is women. She was done. She was actually pissed. I think she was yelling like, because like the new, like Al is a girl now or something. And she was like yelling like, there was something about that trailer, like she was yelling at it because it was there was something wrong that you couldn't do, or I don't remember what it was, but she was just pissed. And I was just like,
Sure.
it's funny because she any other time I'm like, let's talk about this, and she just doesn't care, and she was just pretty mad. Oh, hey, Steve. Hail.
Hey, Steve.
Hail. And yeah, later on after my show, I don't know anybody who's hanging out watching, but Steve and Crazy Mad and Arrogant Ape, they do a great Star Wars show. So they've been watching the new Star Wars show, and then they talk about it. So definitely check them out. But I don't, I've not enjoyed Star Wars. Nah.
No.
Andor, I tried watching Andor. I couldn't do it. They said it gets good after season, 7. I couldn't do it. Or episode 5. That's what they said. It gets good after episode 5. I can't put any more time into that. This is fun. Did you see that other Bruce Campbell one where he's in a store? I think it's like a Christmas movie. It's like maybe like
Black Friday.
Yeah, is that good?
It's okay.
I thought about picking it up, but then I forgot about it until just now. I see him in the store. I'm like, I want that.
It's super low budget, and
yeah, it makes sense.
I don't know, like that movie has a charm to it. Like we kept it. It's on the shelf. I think I liked it more than Selena did, but there's a charm to it. Like something about it works.
Well, I think Bruce Campbell's going to add a bit to anything he does.
Yeah.
And then, again, because it's considered basically a B movie,
right?
It's not going to get all the extra stuff that we've been getting recently. I do. I love the old one-liners, and this is great.
Housewares.
Yeah, this is so good. I don't know how. I see your point where people complain about this not being great because they love the originals. I just don't care. I don't know if it was just being an '80s kid the way I grew up. This is a great film. It's one of my
same thing, man. I genuinely don't care. Even having seen them in order as a kid, I don't know.
There are times where there's movies like this in the franchise where I love the first one, and then all the rest are just, I'm like, screw that stuff. Like Leprechaun.
Sure.
I love the first Leprechaun. Like Leprechaun in Space, Leprechaun in the Hood. Come on. But I still watch them sometimes. But
I'll take Hood over Space anytime.
What was that?
I'll take Hood over Space any day.
Yeah, right. It's one of those things. I love that first one, and then they put out the set. I couldn't get just the first one. You had to get all of them in that set. So that's what I have. But I really only love the first one.
Right.
But this, I love them all.
Yeah,
I love them all. They're really good. Up next, Turtles. We're not watching Turtles.
No, we're good.
Yeah. So obviously you know how I feel about it. I just think it's great.
Yep.
It's one of my favorites. I do honestly I try to make it at least once a year.
Yeah.
For me, this is now twice this year, but enjoyable. I think the other time I was watching it a little bit on the more distracted. This is even though we were talking a lot, I was able to actually sit down and focus a little bit more. Yeah, I do. I love this one. And there's absolutely nothing I would change about it. That's the thing is there's so many films that you can look back, even retrospectively, we watch the film and we're like, all right, this would make it better or this, but nah, that one's, I think it's great just the way it is.
Yeah. And even I love the original ending. But
it's Bruce Campbell. Yes.
But I think they made the right choice reshooting it and giving it more of a Clark Gable Hollywood ending. I think the reshoot works better.
Oh, for real. See, Crazy Man says Leprechaun 1 is awesome. Young Jennifer Jennifer Aniston's in that one. No, 100%. No, I do love that one. But yeah, there are so many franchise movies that get so much general love and praise, and I've only ever really loved the first movie. This is one that just kind of I enjoy all of them just the way they are. But and some of the box sets I have back here, until the box sets came out, I only had the first movie on the shelf. I only have the first Chucky. And in that, the only ones I love is Chucky and Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
You know, the other ones I'll watch. They're passable, they're doable. If they ever come out with like a big, like nice box set, I'll get them. I know they just launched like a bunch of them, but there was like $180 or something. I'm like, that's not for me.
I don't like Chucky that much.
Yeah, I don't like Chucky that much. But the same thing, like Friday the 13th, I really only love the first two, and I do have like a place in my heart for Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah.
Because obviously growing up in upstate New York, I just kind of had that thing. And I always enjoy it. Even though they don't spend a lot of time in New York City, that one's a fun one. But when that box set came out, I had to get it. I had to get them all.
Yep.
So it is one of those things.
And with Evil Dead, man, like it's weird. Like it's kind of become like this huge cult thing, but as big as it is, it still feels like it's like the film lovers film franchise. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like compared to like the Chuckies and Nightmares of the world, like
yeah. There's something about it. It's weird how like hanging out with more movie guys, I've come across this like weird faction. So there's like cinemaphiles, there's movie lovers, there's people that just love physical media. There's generally people like us, but then there's this like different section of horror only.
Yeah.
And like that's all they love. It's all they talk about. It's all they collect for. It's like their entire life. And those people, not saying they're weird, but it's a different conversation.
Yeah.
It's like I love so many films. And like I said, like the earliest film that I own, I actually own movies from the 1920s, and I enjoy all of those. I mean, today I was just watching Africa Screams with my daughter. So there's so many films that most people they've never even heard about. Or actually even care to. Like if I recommended any of the films I love to most of the people that hang out with us, they would look at me sideways, right? But the people that are like, oh yeah, and then you go on and on and on about horror movies. If you try to implement anything like that, it's like you're talking to a wall, man. Right. I could probably get crazy mad to watch one of my old black and white films before I can get one of these horror guys too. It's an interesting conversation when you have that. Hey, Rick Saylor. Hail, brother.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, we just finished watching Army of Darkness. Phenomenal movie. Really enjoy that. Always have. There's that. But yeah, there's something about it. Like, when you get into it. So when you say the Army of Darkness, Evil Dead, that whole thing, it really is like the film fanatics films.
Yeah.
It's just like, because like most people, obviously, pretty much everybody has a certain amount of films, a certain group of films that they love. Without a doubt, and there's that, but then there's like people like us that love so many films. This one here, it hits pretty much everything, and I think it appeals to way more people than it doesn't appeal to. But I know my wife hates all these films, but in general, like these come well received. Even though this one is my favorite, until I started talking to you and like some of the other people I hang out with. This one is not. It's usually at the bottom of the list or not at all. Like they kind of pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's a close second for me, just because like that first Evil Dead was like such a big moment.
Old black and white movies is where it's at.
That's true.
And Crazy hates everything. Yes, he does. Crazy does hate everything. Let's see. One More Sunset. Baby, I'd be sadist. Horror only is boring after a minute. Plus, comedies are a lost art from form now. Yeah, original comedies like back in like I was just talking earlier in the show. I brought up this one with Jack Nicholson, Warren Beatty, The Fortune. Right. It's a fun movie, and like that type of humor is just lost. Where it's not like the oh my God, like Ace Ventura humor. It's not gross out humor. It's not like, dick punch humor, like that type of stuff, like Jackass humor. It literally is amusing.
Right.
And just like that simple form of comedy is gone. And it doesn't get made. It doesn't really get visited all that often. And like just the one that my good friend Crazy Mad sent me that I can't stand. I like him. I can't stand this movie. I don't even know where it is now. He sent me this movie, and it's considered a horror comedy. And at no point am I laughing. At no point am I even like amused during the movie. Where is this movie? I know it's around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So Crazy Man sent me these awesome movies, all starring Pete Davidson. You know how I feel about him. But this movie, Bodies, 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 says it's a must-see horror comedy. This is not funny, and it's not even mildly amusing. And like that's the thing is like what passes for humor nowadays. I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, the whole genre is messed up, man. I feel like it's in the 2000s through the 2010s we had like the Apatow generation, right?
Mhm.
And like stuff like the Hangover series.
Yeah.
And it felt like after that the entire concept of comedy movies just crashed and burned and now there's nothing.
Crazy Man says I only watch Star Wars and King of Staten Island.
That's a
Makes
man's
sense.
man right there.
Yeah, King of Staten Island, even though I still don't like Pete Davidson, is not the worst movie ever. It actually could have been okay if it didn't have him in it. But
That's a box quote right there.
yeah. Yeah, and he co-wrote the damn thing. And Rick Staler says, I'm a movie buff, but favorite is horror. And yeah, that's the thing is I think I don't think horror is my favorite genre, but it's close. Like if I look at my collection, I mean I have more movies in different studios than I
Mhm.
do have like specific like these are my comedies, my dramas. I have like that. But if I were to actually go and look at my my horror movie collection, they're probably a close second to I have more horror movies than comedies. I have more horror movies than dramas,
Mhm.
but I have more action movies than horror movies. But
Okay.
in general, I like to sit down. I'm not like a big action buff guy. Like I'm not watching action movies like every single day. I watch a movie every day, sometimes three, and uh, probably once a week an action movie gets put in.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but it's just interesting. So I just have more that way. I think if I were to choose, probably horror is my second favorite genre, but I like more like the noir drama stuff
Right.
than actual horror. So I think horror is my second, and then horror comedy is for me is the best. That's why I was really disappointed by that one.
Sure. Yeah, I think ultimately horror is probably my favorite genre with
Yeah, Young Frankenstein's great.
Young Frankenstein is perfect. It's a perfect movie.
Yeah, actually, you know who says it's a perfect movie other than you?
Hmm.
I don't disagree, but I've never really thought of it as a perfect movie. It's Tarantino, who's kind of like, and
Yeah,
rightfully so, but he's a bit of a film snob,
Yeah, he
Like
is.
he's the only guy I know that's like I could care less about Alfred Hitchcock.
And
You
I'm
know,
like,
it's like,
you nutbag, what are you
yeah, right.
talking about?
Yeah. So he's one of he says it's a perfect movie, and I don't disagree, but again, like I never thought of it that way. But
Yeah.
Young Frankenstein's great. Yeah. Do you like historical movies like Mad Max? Yes, I do like Mad Max as a historical movie. Yes, 100%. I do love those.
The attention to detail was incredible. So
Oh,
accurate.
incredible. Yeah. Everything that had to do with Not America, they got
Right.
nailed it right on the head. Absolutely loved it. And JD Kirby, hail, brother. Let's see. Put the link out. Have a good show. Yeah. Always have a good show, guys. The first Mad Max is meh, the rest is okay. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy them, but again, they're not ones I revisit all the time.
Yeah.
But I was like, and here's something, and I was like, I know obviously they're a little bit different, but I like Mad Max, but would prefer to watch Waterworld if I were to choose. Like I'd watch Waterworld before I'd watch Mad Max.
Interesting. Okay.
And so like I really love it, and I know that it was considered a flop when they made it. It gets ragged on, and many people complain about it, but I do like it.
Okay.
I do like it. Yeah. But to me, it's like Mad Max on the water. So
Sure.
you'll go look at it like that.
Right.
And here, I knew this was coming. Steve goes, Mad Max is the greatest film franchise in history, and Crazy hates them all. That's why they call him Crazy. Let's see. Rick says, B horror flicks are so cheesy and they're great. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite like older horror flicks are all like from the 50s. The black and white, the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, that one's great.
Mhm.
Them with the ants, the giant ants. Oh my god, I love that film. So yeah, give me all those. Give me any of the like the radiation monsters from the 50s. Give me any of the like the old black and white simple horror stuff. I'm in. But I was like, I do appreciate modern horror too. Like I just watched I watched The Fly when I was much younger, so I've seen it multiple times before. But I just rewatched The Fly. But The Fly 2, I had never seen that one, so I watched that one. But then I've also just rewatched the Vincent Price Fly and like those older ones, and they're all different but so enjoyable. And I know all the time people complain about the original Blob with Steve McQueen, and they're like the new one, the remake is far superior. I understand the love. I actually own both movies, but I really enjoy the Steve McQueen one. But I understand that it was filmed at a different time, and that type of horror wasn't as crazy. Where in the remake, the Blob literally eats a boy, and then they have to move on, or they're going to die. And you have that. And it's not as horrific in the first one, and it's just. But I like them both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I have that Fly box set, I really have to sit down and just power through all of them.
Yeah, they're really, really enjoyable. What I definitely watch in back to back in one day, like not in one day, like watch The Fly one day and then the very next day watch The Fly 2. It hits different. Like instead of trying to watch them back to back, it's enjoyable. And obviously they're different films, different directors, different cinematography.
Right,
but it's so good and really enjoyable. I didn't expect much out of a Fly sequel, but I got everything that I didn't know I wanted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Really enjoyable. Yeah. But then my daughter, who's not afraid of anything and who's watched other movies like that, never has nightmares, never afraid. She is afraid of The Fly. Like the first one. Like I did not let her watch the Jeff Goldblum one, but the first one with Vincent Price from like the 50s or
with
60s,
the big head,
whatever it was, with the big head. Yeah. That one I let her watch, and she's scared to death of it. She hates that movie. And it didn't dawn on me in real life. She's afraid of flies. Like we go outside and she starts screaming. So it did not dawn on me because I'm like, hey, let's watch this movie, The Fly. So she's all in.
Yeah.
And then she watches it, and then like afterwards she goes, no, absolutely not. We are not watching. No, because I want to watch the other ones, and those older black and white ones. I know I can watch when she's around and not have an issue. But then she's like, no, they're too scary. As someone who has seen some scary stuff and just doesn't bother her, doesn't phase her, at all. I mean, it realized in real life, bugs bother her. Yep. Let's see. Rick Saylor, I sent him a Mirage or Transformer 2, and he broke it already. Yeah, my kid broke it. I think she took it again. I did have it up here. How did it go? Well, it was up here, unless she took it already. Because I did fix it today, because she brought me the arm, so maybe she did take it. I don't know. Yeah, he sent me a toy and I broke it. So much. What a good friend I am. Let's see. One more Sunset says, I miss a variety of movies coming out. They used to all be thrillers, action, horror, suspense, etc. Yeah, that's the thing that we talked about a couple times. Is like there's this like huge push to chase the $1 billion and the next big blockbuster, and all the movie studios are trying to recreate the MCU and what they did. That we are not getting like lower budget films. We're not getting things like The Army of Darkness. We're not getting Hell Comes to Frogtown. We're not getting like the smaller budget, like writer director, small budget, enjoyable films. They're not taking chances on cool movies that have found audiences over the years. That's the reason.
Yeah, I just saw some video from this past week on the same topic, and basically the point was, which I think other people have observed, like the mid-tier budget film has kind of become modern TV, but to less effect, I would argue.
Yeah. Steve says Waterworld is gay. I like Waterworld. Tarantino loves 70s movies, and he said the 90s was like the 70s part 2. I can see that and respect it a little bit. I do really love 70s cinema, and I understand that he does. I found out recently that he actually does something similar to I do, but he watches his movies on VHS tapes.
That's great.
I didn't know that. That was actually pretty cool. And then he really goes into like diving into like 70s cinema. It's just kind of a cool thing. And I mean, obviously, him being a lot older than me, 70s cinema, he was around for that type of stuff. But I've found it slowly growing up, and then now I've been really, really diving in. But 70s cinema is probably my favorite.
It was a great era, man. It was a great
definitely
era.
was. Oh, thanks for hanging out, Feline. Take it easy.
Later, Feline.
Let's see. American Werewolf in London and The Howling were pretty good. Yeah, I enjoy both of those. The Howling is a Joe Dante film, which very soon I'm probably going to do a video of like all my Joe Dante films. And I freeze.
You froze for a second, but
okay, I'm good. Yeah, so I was gonna do all of the Joe Dante set, like a film focus thing, because I really got that idea from Imprint doing the film focus collections on physical media, but actually putting it together, like, hey, these are my Joe Dante films, because there's so many, there are certain directors that kind of get pigeonholed, right? Like you watch a Scorsese film or a Tarantino film, even though they've done different things, it's those guys, right?
Right.
You can watch a Joe Dante film and not necessarily know it's Joe Dante.
Mm-hmm.
There are vibes, there are hints. There's he leaves his mark on each project, but like there's films like he did The Hole, which I don't think anybody's ever even seen that one. Obviously he did The Howling, but he did Gremlins, right? So like those are so different. Like just looking at Howling and Gremlins, those are so two opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
But then again, he left his mark on both films, and so it's just enjoyable. He did Matinee with John Goodman.
Yes, he did.
That's a really enjoyable film as well. And so again, he left his mark on it because a lot of the props that were in the movies were his own from when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like the magazines that the kids were going through and stuff, the monster stuff, those were his when he was it was just kind of cool to have that stuff. But yeah, like I want to do it because you don't know a lot of that stuff. Like you forget about it, you kind of overlook it. It's I think it was more prevalent back in the day when all the credits were in the beginning of the movies.
Yeah.
Where you just kind of sit through it, you enjoy it, you're getting excited for the movie coming, and then you just kind of bombarded with all the actors and actresses and directors and people that are involved in making this movie. They're on screen. You get to know those names. Now the end credits, they're so freaking long because all the CGI and all the craziness and like 35 people work on one little 10-second CGI clip. And so you're never going to care now. But before, there was a much smaller crew to make one movie. Let's see. Yeah, great. Critters was great too. Yeah, that's one I got to get. The box set's only like $30 now, so I'm probably going to pull the trigger on that one soon because it's been a while since I've seen all the Critters movies.
Yeah, Critters 2 for life, man.
Love the older Blob movies. Oh, they were so much good. There was I don't think they were so much better. I think they were really good. I think they were really enjoyable. I like all the films. But yeah, I really, really enjoy the Steve McQueen in the first one there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. Yes. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's a great film too. I really enjoy. I actually have that one, and it's enjoyable. I revisit it all the time. But that one, I didn't care for the newer one.
Well, define newer. Like from which one?
There's been a bunch of versions of it, but like the one that they did like the early 90s there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not so much.
Yeah. Because I remember like the beginning when the first one that gets body snatched was in the bathroom, the guy in the bathroom.
Right.
I was just like, this is stupid. It's not for me. Seemed like there was some homoeroticism there where he's getting snatched in the bathroom.
Right.
Everyone's saying by Tarantino. Tarantino can do no wrong. Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, I think he can, but like I know there's this like cult following, and they have that kind of opinion with Tarantino, and I just don't think like anybody should have that, love, right? I mean, hold everybody accountable. Like you can love all the stuff, but there's clearly, movies that I just don't love, and with actors and directors, but generally they get that blind love. Like Nolan, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like the love for Zack Snyder too. I don't get it either. I respect Nolan. I don't necessarily respect Snyder, but I respect Nolan because of the practical effects thing, his take on physical media, his actual passion for filmmaking.
Sure.
I really respect Nolan, but like his films, like I said, for me, they're not rewatchable, and I just don't hit. I don't hate them, but again, I just don't find myself wanting to go back and watch them again. See, One More Sunset says TV got way into itself. Yeah, TV was second to movies, and then a few outlier shows changed it up. Fast forward today's lack of content. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there was what happened to the modern sitcom, right? just it was so good in the 90s. And we find ourselves like in this house, we're watching that 90s stuff all the time. Like just today, my daughter and I were watching Perfect Strangers. Obviously it was on TGI from when we were kids in the late 80s, early 90s, something we enjoyed. So this is something that I've been enjoying for over 30 years and I can still enjoy it now. And then just off put by all the modern stuff. It's just boring.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like TV had a really great run from I'd say like 2004 to like 2015-ish, and like where it's like it had multiple genres, everything was firing on all cylinders. It seemed like a reinvention of what was great about TV. And then whatever caused it, like just that all came crashing down. Like I don't want to blame streaming, but that definitely contributed to it.
Yeah. One more Sunset says, I wonder how show writers could write a complete season for several years. No one writes 22 to 26 episodes a season anymore. No, right?
No.
Like nothing. Like even our cartoons. Like I was going through, I have the entire He-Man, Master of the Universe cartoons and She-Ra. Those seasons, like I think the first season has a couple episodes, but like the second season has like 30 something episodes. Like it's just, and like all the seasons were pretty much like that. I think the later seasons had less, but tons of episodes. I remember all the sitcoms back then. There were 30-minute shows. They were on once a week. But yeah, you had like 20-something episodes, and they were really enjoyable. And as you binge watch a lot of TV shows, there are different TV shows that would have the same episode that they used from another thing like a couple years previous. And so when you're watching one show, you're like, oh, so and so did Family Matters did that, or so and so did that. And so you look and you're like, oh, look, similar writers. So they were just kind of phoning it in that day. But most people didn't notice or remember because it was years apart.
Well, this is something that I was talking with Peter Simeti from Alterna about, like just the idea of
course.
The idea of ongoing narratives has kind of become a lost art. Like everything is designed with the ending in mind, as opposed to just like existing with these characters for however long you can keep the book or show or whatever going.
There is like a part of there is an enjoyment as a consumer, right? Of the creator of the show having an end in mind, right? But not like writing it around that end.
Yeah.
Write the show, everything like how you kind of want to wrap it up. Because like there is a satisfaction of having a good ending and them knowing it from the beginning, whereas opposed to like how many shows that we have loved have had a shitty season finale.
Sure.
Just think about that. Like that's my only argument with that, but I agree with that. Like, yeah, go in, write as many shows as you can until it ends.
Right.
Yeah. Because I think in the long run you get more enjoyment out of that, because I revisit all those old shows where I almost never revisit a modern show. The only thing I've even attempted to was Boardwalk Empire. I really enjoyed that one. And a couple other ones, but most everything else is straight out of the 90s.
Yeah.
And Crazy Mad says Tarantino can do no wrong. Fine, Crazy Mad, I'll allow it. The thing with black and white movies is they had to act more because no CGI. Modern technologies basically do it for them. Oh, 100%. There's something so enjoyable out of the CGI movie or the black and white movies because there's no CGI. And you said like they had to rest on their laurels, or they couldn't rest on their laurels. It just like, or I'm not saying that right. They had to rely on their talent than just, they'll fix it in post. Like that attitude, which is what we get with modern stuff, is very frustrating. But like I was just, like I said, I was just watching Africa Screams today with my daughter, and I hadn't seen it in a long time. And that movie is just so fun. Yeah. It's really enjoyable. And at no point, I lose myself. I know I'm watching this on a VCR tape in this room in an old television, and I lose myself in this movie. It's black and white, and then he's in the very beginning he's whipping the whip, and you think he's like this lion tamer, and then you look, it's a cat, it's a little kitten, and it's just funny. And so then I got the 6-year-old who's now sucked into this movie, who just earlier today was telling me how crappy black and white movies are. And so like you do kind of get lost in it, and it is because of everything about it. And it goes back to that old phrase, Hollywood magic or movie magic. It's not there anymore.
Well, and plus too, when you're talking about that generation of actors, the serious dramatic actors were coming from stage and the comedians were coming from vaudeville. So literally,
Right.
like, their entire training is based on like overemphasizing everything about their performance.
Oh,
And
100%.
I think that's the main difference between that generation of actors and where we're at now.
Yeah, there's a real appreciation for anything like vaudeville-esque for me. Like, it
Right.
really makes sense. And that's why it's like The Fortune, I really recommend it because it hits all of those notes. And again,
Yeah.
those actors would have been familiar with that type of stuff back then.
Sure.
And Steve asks, you like Boardwalk Empire better than Sopranos? Yeah, actually I do. I do love both. I love both, and I do revisit Sopranos from time to time, but I don't consider that modern, even though it's in the early 2000s. I don't consider it modern. I think anything like after my youngest daughter was born, so anything after like 2000, or my oldest, so like 2005 to 2010, anything after that, I consider modern.
Okay.
So Sopranos falls in that gray area for me. So I do enjoy Sopranos, but I do like Boardwalk Empire better because I really enjoy that time period, like that whole gangster time period in the 20s. I like everything about it, and I've always said, like, if I had a time machine, I would live in the 20s. Like, that's just it for me. But I do appreciate both. I do like Boardwalk a little better, and it's only because of the time period. I like the clothes. I like the talk. I like everything about it.
I don't know. Yeah,
Like how they treated women.
I guess I ultimately agree. My favorite part of Boardwalk is what's his name? Chalky White. I can't remember the actor's name. He passed away like a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah. I
Yeah.
forget his name too, but he was great. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Let's see, one more sentence that says the mergers ruined TV. Yeah. The companies
True.
merged and they took too much debt and removed redundant departments, started cutting departments and selling assets. Yeah, no, that was a horrible thing. But then, like, there's this whole like streaming has had a big part of that too, because there was like a whole thing of back, towards the end of cable and satellite dish, like all your TV was there before streaming really hit big with us.
Yeah.
I think that was like at its peak, and you had these like things where certain shows they hit everybody. Like there was this show Warehouse 13,
Yep.
and then there was like a spin-off show Eureka something or whatever.
Yep.
And I only saw the Warehouse 13 one, but it was those types of shows I never really liked. And it was at the time my ex-wife, her father, so at the time my father-in-law was into all of those. Like he would watch anything like. He would have watched like Supergirl and like all that stuff that lived and died on the CW back in the early 2000s. Like that was his thing. But then you had like these other groups of people that they only watched like FX, right? So you had that. But now with the streaming, I think you have like so much pumped into you that you don't really have that like groups of fandoms anymore.
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah, like that was part of that golden era that I was talking about, like Warehouse 13, all that stuff on Sci-Fi that kind of flowed out.
Sci-Fi. That's what it was. Sci-Fi.
That kind of flowed out of the success of like Battlestar. Like that whole era, I love, and we just hit this wall that I think partially was responsible, caused by streaming, and I don't think creatively TV ever recovered from it.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so. And then the comment about the mergers and the consolidation, yes, that always hurts everything. I've always said, like, when people get excited, like people got excited over Disney buying Star Wars and Disney buying Marvel and stuff. And I've always said, once they consolidate, it's out of the hands of the creative people. It's out of the hands of the people that love this stuff in the first place. And so like you're now going to shareholders and they're going to cut corners, and wherever they do, it's not a good thing. And so I've always said that more consolidation is not good for us.
Right.
I can't stand it. And so I've always just, held my ground of no streaming. We're gonna buy physical media. And so I've held that ground. I've really, really enjoyed it. But as we're doing that, we're starting to see, do I have any around here? Starting to see them cut corners on a lot of stuff, especially in the packaging. Packaging right here. So I got Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Nice.
The packaging is just that crappy package. It's really thin and flimsy. You're getting this, and so they're cutting corners. And as Walmart now, who is trying, and so I have bought my own cases to replace them with. So I've been doing that on my own, but many people don't. I've gotten some of these used buying a great deal because I get a used movie, but then they're punctured because they just don't care about it. So and I do. And so it's one of those things where all of this is because of consolidation. And now Walmart is looking at getting into the physical media realm. And so STS is a combination of, I think, Universal and maybe Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And they're putting they're putting their stuff out through this company called STS. Well, Walmart is either looking at buying it or owning it or being like an exclusive seller of their stuff. And so they're in talks of something. Nothing's hammered out yet. But again, that right there is more consolidation. And once they're involved, at least Warner Brothers and Universal, even though, yes, they have a bottom line that they're trying to hit, they're still movie people. Walmart is not. Walmart's just the biggest retailer ever. So at first, initially, everyone's like, yes, more physical media. And I think no, more cost-cutting measures. So yeah, I agree with you. More consolidation, more mergers. It's going to hurt everything in the long
run. I agree.
We have, let's see. Rick Seller says, I'm watching Warehouse 13 and Eureka right now. Yes.
Me
Warehouse
too.
13 was really good. I have not seen Eureka. I'm going to check it out at some point, but I did watch the entire season or the entire series of Warehouse 13. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. So I already read that one. Here we go. One more Sunset says there was an economy big enough where everyone was separated. Yes, and that's the false narrative of like everything has to consolidate because just nobody's buying it anymore. Well, I will argue there are more DVD sales today, right now, than there ever have been, and there's way more DVD sales, like let alone Blu-ray and 4K and everything. DVD still sells out everything, and there's more DVD sales. We're talking like 4 to 5 times as much as vinyl, but vinyl is in all the stores again, and vinyl went away, from when I was a kid. Like there was CDs everywhere. I don't remember being a kid. Like I remember vinyl in people's homes, but I don't remember, other than the specialty stores, I don't remember seeing vinyl in the big box stores ever when I was a kid.
Right.
And now it's everywhere. And DVD still sells like 4 to 5 times as many, but they're shrinking on the shelves. That's a false narrative to get you into streaming.
Sure.
Less people. And yes, there are less people buying physical media, but there are still more DVD sales than there ever have been. Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. Let's see. MTV was the foreshadow we all missed. It was the first to die. And no, you're right. 100%. And I've talked about how many times I missed it and just played 90% reruns. Yes. And it was the spring break stuff. The reality stuff started coming in, and it was the start of that did really well in the 90s. The reality TV, the spring break stuff did really well. So you had more of that and you had less music, but you still had music for a long time. And then, all of a sudden it was just gone. And it was, I always talked about how much I missed it.
Yeah, and once you hit the early 2010s, you have the whole like teen mom craze, and like that just was like the final nail in the coffin.
Oh my god, that teen mom stuff was everywhere.
Yep.
And all it did was it just created copycats. So you had more teen moms. That's all you had. And they're still making cassette tapes. I actually have a cassette player, and I don't have it around here, but I did have a brand new cassette like on here. It was brand new, still packaged, and it had all the soundtrack for Stranger Things.
Oh, nice.
All that on there. So I've got that. They're still making them. I know one of them, like Teeny Bopper stores that sells clothes to kids and stuff. They sell them. Because my kid was telling me about it. It's Urban Outfitters. Urban Outfitters still sells cassette. Like you can get brand new cassettes, and I think you can get VCR tapes.
Wow.
At Urban Outfitters, Walmart has Eureka on Blu-ray set. It's less than $40. Yeah, I should get it.
Eureka's okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. I haven't dived in yet, but I definitely have a lot of other stuff I have to watch first. But it is on the list of stuff I want to get into. I don't want edited media. If Walmart controls the reprints, then they control what edit is available. No, that's another thing too. That's why I have been really diving hardcore into the boutique Blu-ray labels. I just picked up Freeway from Vinegar Syndrome, and I hate, like, a lot of times we're getting in these newer movies, older movies being put out by newer companies, we're getting a warning in the beginning of the movie where
Right.
None of these things are affiliated with it. It's not their beliefs and stuff. It really puts me off and takes me out of the film. I'm really disliking it. So there was one in this Vinegar Syndrome one, if you're not familiar with them, Cult Classics, and they do a lot of skin flicks. So at no point should they have any warnings in front of their thing. But they had a note, and what the note was it's the entire film in all of its unedited, uncensored, full nudity, full gore, full violence, every single thing that was in the original cut, and that's what's in there. And I was just like, whoa, excellent, because you don't get a lot of that anymore. So
Right.
I'm definitely putting a lot of my time, a lot of my effort, and all of my funds into more boutique Blu-ray labels. As I've been getting the stuff out of Australia, and now I've been picking up some stuff out of the United Kingdom, really, really enjoying that because you're getting a better product.
Yeah, Imprint, Umbrella, like two great studios from Australia, man.
Which I did. I finally did get that. I got that Umbrella, the Love Witch.
Yeah, the Love Witch.
So I got that Umbrella. That package is phenomenal. I still haven't watched it yet, but it's number 20 in that series. So I'm gonna have to look and see what else they got. Some person says the internet has made everything nostalgic. Everything has a revival. All music, all forms of media. Yeah, it really does. And there is this thing where it's coming up. Hold on. Some person says musicians collecting old synths from the 70s and 80s. Yeah, that's a thing too. But now there's this revival in VHS tapes. Now, I have been collecting these for a while. I absolutely love this. I've been talking about it forever. Almost all the movies behind me are VHS tapes. I have multiple VCRs in the house. I have old CRT televisions, and I watch this all the time. But now I'm starting to see, like, I'm in my 40s, right? I grew up with all this stuff. I'm starting to see like kids in their 20s that have no idea what a VCR is start collecting VCR tapes, and they start like enjoying that. There's this one guy that I follow on Twitter who's like way younger than me, who literally takes a picture almost every single day, putting a VCR tape into an old CRT television. He goes to thrift stores in England somewhere, and he puts those in, and that's just really enjoyable. But the thing is, this kid probably didn't even grow up with VCR tapes.
Of course not.
I'm pretty sure he's in his 20s, right? And so it's just an interesting thing. There is a revival in these kids. So it's almost like that. What do you call them, damn kids? It's ones that didn't want to conform to anything.
Just like anti-establishment, or like the mod scene, the pod?
Anyway, the weirdo kids that didn't want to conform to anything, in our recent years, and they were buying all the vinyl. They're drinking all the Pabst Blue Ribbon. They're bringing those things back, and so they're buying all the vinyl.
The hipsters.
There you go, hipsters. So the hipsters brought that back, and so now there's like a new version, but they're not really calling themselves anything. And it's these younger groups that are kind of in that same thing, that they're really going after the VHS, which is an interesting thing. And I'm almost glad that I had already been doing this for a long time, and I have my VCR tapes, because I just watched like some girl in her 20s open up like a brand new VCR from the 80s that she paid like a fortune for on eBay, and she probably didn't even know how to work the dang thing. And then she did it for her show, but then she's collecting VHS tapes, and I'm like, bro, that's cool that you're doing that, but it's going to create this weird collector market like the gamers did with the vintage, with the retro gaming market. So, Mario used to go for like $2 on NES, and now it's like 30 or 40 bucks. You're going to get that same thing with the VHS tapes.
This whole thing's just weird to me, man. Like something that we took for granted growing up.
Yeah,
like,
things that people were throwing away 10 years ago are now being coveted. It's just interesting.
It's weird.
Hipsters, Zoomers, and Zipsters. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It's too much for me. I think I'm old. Let's see. These dorks are even doing it with cassette tapes, feeling like they're so retro. Yeah, I watched another girl who had, and I thought it was a joke at first, because there's this old Gen X lady who's always like saying stuff on YouTube, and it's hilarious. So I've been watching her shorts lately, but then she like clipped over. There was this kid that went to a thrift store and then came out with like, and it was newer because it was all plastic, and it was like one of those like retro designs from maybe 15 years ago. And it was a radio that had a cassette tape in the side. And then she kept saying it funny. She kept calling it like a cassette tape, like she was like brand new to Earth.
Yeah.
And then she kept going, tape, put your tape in here, because it didn't say cassette tape, it said tape. So she was saying, and I don't know, and when you watch it, it feels like parody, but then she made like a follow-up to it while she was actually playing the tapes and using them. And no, It's not a parody. She really thought that you put like scotch tape in the radio and didn't understand that. So then she was asking the person at the register, and the person was older. And so she explained it to her. So then she had to go back and like show her where the cassette tapes were, but then she kept calling them cassette tapes. And then she like went, she goes, I have like all these ones. What should we play? And then she made a whole video where she was like playing them and using it. And I was like, bro, you literally have the internet in your fingertips on your phone, and you have no clue. It's just wild how these, they're reinvigorating cassette tapes and everything else. It's crazy. Yeah, it really is. But that was pretty much it. I have to go. My kid is still up. I got to get her in bed. But that was fun. I always love having these movie shows. But we're going to change up the format a little bit. So we're going to be doing a movie watch party at the end of the last Monday of every month. But every Monday, we're still going to do the show. We're going to switch it to just general movie talk. So we're going to pick a movie. We're going to do like a Siskel and Ebert style. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to lead up to like an event. Like there's going to be one movie at the end of the month. We're going to try doing that. But with that, we'll catch you guys next time.
Sounds like a plan. Later.
Who hired you?
Go now. Goodbye.